Hello and welcome to On The Esky, sports podcast where we like to cover all the major sports happening, and there's one massive event happening at the moment, and that being the Olympics. We'll get stuck into that in a minute, but also we want to cover what's happening in the cricket world, then preview round 20 in the NRL and AFL. Then there's huge NFL news because training camps are kicking off around the US country. And then we'll have a rundown through a whole bunch of other sports.
For sure.
NBA, UFC, bit of F1 news, whatever. We'll get to that quickly. But the major thing is the Olympics. But before we get to that, we have shout of beers to get through, and all of them are Olympic related. Who would like to go first?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. I will be shouting Owen Wright, a beer, bronze medalist, Australian surfer, unbelievable story. Probably been living under a rock if you hadn't heard it, but sustained a horrific traumatic brain injury back in 2015, surfing pipeline. Pretty much had to learn to walk again. And he grew up down at Culburra, not far from us here in Canberra, down around Nowra. And yeah, after, 5 years ago, having to teach himself how to walk again, he's an Olympic medalist. He won the bronze. Surfing, obviously, first time in the Olympics. So I'll be shouting Owen a beer. Enjoy, son. Well deserved.
Ms. Monkey?
Yep. So I'm going to shout a beer to Dean Boxall. Been copping a little bit of flack this week.
You've been copping some praise too, though, as well.
Copping some praise as well. So mostly the flack's coming from the US, calling him a little bit disrespectful and a bit of a jerk. But so he's
so who is Dean Boxall?
Yeah, so he is an Australian swimming coach, fairly over enthusiastic swimming coach. So. What race was the 400-meter freestyle race between?
After Fitness beat Ledecky.
Yeah, only Justin. Yeah, he was. Excuse me. He was a little bit excited with the win. Jumped around,
chucked the mask off.
That's it. Was grinding up on the banister there.
Those hips were gyrating. What about the poor little Japanese marshal? Yeah. She didn't know whether to clap or try and push him back.
Please stop.
That's it.
And it has become an absolute fucking meme.
It has. So yeah, obviously going to be celebrating. Hopefully a few more wins.
Yeah.
So yeah. At least one beer for Dean Boxall.
I tend to imagine he might have had more than that already. Have one more, son.
Definitely.
Good on ya.
And then me, for my Indian brothers, I wanted to shout out the Indian Olympic team. Currently with one medal, silver medal. We're in 47th position, so we're still inside the top 50 currently. Half our total of what we got in Rio. So shout out to the team, and hopefully we can keep this in a week in, maybe sneak another medal too somewhere, and maintain our top 50 position to finish off these Olympics.
Very strong in the track and field, the Indians, aren't they? See how they go.
Yes.
Right. Well,
yeah. Speaking of Olympics, and we do apologise for the Australian bias that you probably get in some of the Olympics news, purely because we're all Australian.
All of it will be Australian bias,
but we will cover some of the other interesting things that are happening as well. Mm-hmm. So perhaps take us away. Where do we? Well, we'll start. We're day 6.
Day 6.
Opening ceremony.
Yeah. So we're close to halfway through. Let's start with the opening ceremony. Fuck, it was weird watching all these athletes marching in front of no crowd.
Well, waving to the crowd.
Waving to the crowd that wasn't existent. Paddy Mills and Kate Campbell carrying the flag for Australia. The greased up Tongan. He's back. Grease me up, woman. I think Bruce McAvaney was saying... He's the Usain Bolt of flag bearing. I think he's done he's done a few Summer Olympics, and he's also done Winter Olympics. So go work that one out. And speaking of Bruce, Sportsbet had a market for the kind of Bruceisms that he'd say.
Yeah.
Winks was paying 17 to 1, and he said it. Yeah. He managed to sneak his favourite fucking racehorse, one of the greatest horses of all time, into an Olympics chat. Not sure on the context, but it paid out 17 to 1. What's the go with this typhoon? Have you read much about it? I saw today that it's starting to take some effect.
The effect of the Gulf. So it also... I think the surfers were a bit keen on it because it gave them a bit bigger swells.
Yeah, but it was one of the ranks.
It was choppy as shit.
Yeah. I think that was the problem. It wasn't like consistent waves that come in in a good order.
All over the place.
It was just wave. Like
it was like groundwater as well.
Yeah, mixed it all up.
I think they might have brought some of the rowing forward as well.
Archery and the shooting too because of the winds. So high winds were impacted. There was an earthquake in Tokyo as well a couple of days, like 5.1 I think was the magnitude. So a decent earthquake, not a bit more than a shake. So.
Maybe that was just one of the big weightlifters dropping 160 kilos. It's Godzilla.
So weather over there has been a bit also super fucking hot too.
Yeah.
So they had 35-degree days, and for the volleyball there was like 50 degrees on the beach in the sand.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah.
The thing about the weather is it's hot early in the morning, and the lows are like 25, and it's a humid fucking 25. So yeah, it really makes you appreciate, especially like the cycling road race, for instance, when they're cycling 230, 240 Ks.
6 hour race.
I think Barty came
Over,
out today and said like it was killer. It was crazy the kind of weather we had to play in. So, and that kind of came back on the Japanese Olympic Committee, because they as part of their pitch to have hosting these Olympics, like it'll be perfect weather, it'll be the exact weather that athletes will need to perform at their peak best.
Yeah,
and we've had an earthquake, a typhoon, and record heat. So
it's all unprecedented, isn't it? Yeah, pretty much out of their control. But it is. You wouldn't think of it. Japan, it's reasonably far north, but just copping a bit of a heat wave and it all happening at once. But hasn't stopped some great competition. So
definitely,
maybe we'll start in the pool.
Well, the final note was the Australian athletic team was forced into lockdown today.
Right.
Purely because the Australian pole vaulter was training with the American pole vaulter who tested positive for COVID, so he's out of the tournament.
Yeah,
a few of the other Yanks
yeah.
have had COVID, and Bryson DeChambeau as an example. They're missing out 3 Olympics. So the whole athletic team went into lockdown. They've had all their tests. They've all come back negative. So at the point, they're all good, because athletics starts tomorrow.
It sure does, yeah. Track and field.
So we're hoping to keep some medals in there and keep above some of these other teams, that being the Australian team. So hopefully we can sneak 1 or 2 medals in the athletics. I don't like our chances, but you never know.
You take one.
Maybe some high jump or long jump. We'll see.
Oh, I think at the chicks javelin, we might have one chance. But I must say, I was expecting there to be a real issue with athletes getting COVID, and it's actually kind of been, in a good way, underwhelming. We haven't heard too much about it. I thought, oh God, as soon as there's a few cases,
barely any crowds. Crowds at the cycling, that's probably about it, but they're far enough away. There's kind of no interaction.
That was less my concern. The crowds, more of the fuckfest that we're talking about.
Yeah, my point being the athletes kind of in a bubble where they're only be infecting each other. So hopefully only with COVID.
Yeah, with other viruses.
So let's get stuck on swimming.
Let's do it, mate. How good are the Aussies and the Aussie girls? The Aussie girls are
carrying the squad at the moment.
Big time. So kicked off with the chicks 4x100, 1 gold in that easily. That's 3 Olympics in a row and 4 out of the last 5. It's pretty much been the same core built around the Campbell sisters and Emma McCann. They smashed a world record going under 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And at that stage, that was, I think, day 2 in the pool. The Aussie girls hadn't won an individual gold in the pool since Beijing 2008. Let that sink in. So, in a country that's produced Shane Gould, Dawn Fraser, Susie O'Neill, Steph Rice, Liesl Jones, the list goes on. To not have an individual gold medalist in nearly 3 Olympics, it's unprecedented.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enter Ariane Titmus, Arnie, the Terminator. She defeated Katie Ledecky in the 400 free. She'd beaten her at the World Champs, so it was like Katie Ledecky, clearly one of the best female swimmers of
dominated Rio,
all time.
So,
destroyed it in Rio. She's still I think she's only 24, 25. She could go again. And as you spoke about, Dean Boxall was pretty fired up about it. But then after winning the 400, she does something which is really unprecedented and backs it up with a 200 gold. Do you guys catch this race? The last 25 metres was unbelievable. She caught up probably a whole length.
Yeah, pulled it all the way back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And did you see who it was? Siobhan Haughey. That I know we're not great with our pronunciation here on the Esky, some more than others.
Not naming names.
No, not naming any names. But Thorpe and Leslie Jones were calling her Siobhan Jorge, like a.
Yeah, I get where you're going.
No, I'm just going like a the Latino route, like a George in Latino. I can't see it out of that name. I would have said Jorge, but it's the first Olympic medal for a Hong Kong swimmer ever.
I did not realise that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you like to? I know it's on the spot.
It is on the spot.
The man to my left is half Hong Konger or half Hong Kongese. What's the correct?
Konger.
Hong Konger?
Half Hong Kong. Yep. I don't know for how much longer, but yeah. That's a completely different story.
Free Hong Kong. Free Hong Kong.
I can't say, we'll go to jail now for that.
Yeah. We take you down in China.
Do you want to scale for that?
I think YouTube's banned in China, so we're all good.
We're sweet for now.
I'll scale for that.
Katie Ledecky, she come fifth in that 200 metres. Then she goes out an hour later and wins the 1500 metres. It's ridiculous. Like the way that they have to back up these athletes, especially in the pool where if you're
doing multiple events, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But her versatility to go from 200 to 15, unreal. Yeah. It's actually the first time that the 1500 metres has been competed by women.
For the women?
Yep. Yeah, so normally they do 8 and the blokes do 15. Mm-hmm. So they've introduced an 8 for the boys and 15 for the girls. And it just makes you think, and it makes me think of the last few Olympics, especially from an Australian perspective when they go, in regards to Kate Campbell and, some of the gold medal favourites perhaps underachieving, and then these slobs sit on their couches and go, they're fucking chokers,
down in beers is like, we're terrible.
Yeah, ridiculous. They should make them swim nude, I think. Humiliate them. Anyone that says it.
The fat boys, yes.
The fat boys. Yeah. We're still safe for TV. Little rolls just covering up the genitalia. Yeah. And then the gold rush just kept coming in the pool. So Kaylee McEwen won the 100-metre backstroke. She was the one that dropped the big F-bomb. Did you guys know that she lost her old man to cancer last year?
No.
Yeah, no. So I think August last year, so not even a year after losing her old boy, and they asked her, what would you like to say to mum? And she drops a big fuck yeah. And then tried to recover it with, oh shit, I swore. Yeah. There's a few jokes getting around. Emily C-bomb come fifth in that, so, too easy. It's a little layup. There was a C-bomb and an F-bomb in that race.
Yes.
And then gold again in the pool today. Zach Stubley-Cook, he won the 200-metre breaststroke. So the boys getting in on the action. That's the first gold for the boys. Cole Chalmers just missing out by a bee's dick today to the American Caleb Dressel in the 100-metre free. Couldn't quite back up his efforts from Rio.
But we've pulled plenty of silvers and bronzes out of the pool.
Sure have. Yeah. Killing it in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Not if we're doing the 4x200 though. That was a bit of a disappointment.
It was, wasn't it? But as we were talking pre-show, they swum a world record.
Yeah, all three teams that medalled
swum
were under world record.
Broke the old world record, which was the Aussie girls' world record. So I don't know how disappointed you can be in a team that goes out and swims a world record. They're just the Chinese and the American teams were better. Mm-hmm. What about the basketball boys?
Oh yes,
it's.
International basketball is a different game than the NBA is.
Yes.
Yeah. Different rules, different kind of way it's reffed.
They don't call any fouls. There's so much contact.
Yeah.
Anything in the NBA, you maybe your James Hardens or LeBron James would be milking the shit out of it to go to the free throw line. It's real physical old school basketball, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think one of the American players. Don't think it was Durant. I can't remember who it was saying, when these guys play, like take Patty Mills as example, play for their country, they're a different beast to what they are in the NBA. And it is about that idea of you pulling on your country's jersey versus that jumper. What does that mean to you versus, what you're getting paid to do as a profession, as in playing for the Hornets or whoever.
So speaking of that Australian basketball team, the Boomers, they comfortably beat Nigeria in game 1, and it was very close last night, but they got up over Italy.
Super gritty and grindy kind of game
Wasn't
against
it?
Italy. So,
shout out Nico Mannion, the red-headed thunder from the Warriors. He was really good, but the Boomers just got home. And the big story, I suppose, coming out of the basketball was the Americans dropping their first game to France. In France's credit, they're pretty good on paper.
Yeah.
Evan Fournier had 28. No Fournier gangrene, but he's going all right. And Ruby Gobert is there, the defensive player of the year.
Yep.
Nicholas Batum, Nando Di Colo, he plays in Europe. He's pretty handy. But I wanted to ask you boys, they went out yesterday and smoked Iran, but
They needed to because they probably should beat Iran, honestly.
Sure.
But drop that game and then it was like they're probably done. Like they don't make it out of their group stage, which is crazy. So
yeah, and that look, to be honest, they're never losing to Iran. France is a different machine.
Yes.
The Iranians have 0 guys in the NBA.
Yes.
I think they have maybe 4 guys that play outside of Iran, whereas the French team have got 5 guys in the NBA.
yes,
Having said that, on paper, that American team should beat everyone here.
easy.
What is the problem? Do you think it's the difference in the rules and the way that FIBA basketball works compared to the NBA?
That, and I think they had a bit of a shorter turnaround for
Well, Devin Booker's playing, then
and he
would have been on a plane, after the. After
I'm
the
not sure what
finals.
quarantining he's trying to get.
Yeah, definitely hasn't done 2 weeks.
Yeah. But I think, yes, that chemistry, because they didn't have a longer camp than they usually would anyway.
Yep.
So, and because of that, they're kind of running the Spurs offense because they got Pop as coach. So,
Yep.
which again doesn't suit all the players perfectly either. So it's taken them a bit, but they've got the best players in the world playing on their team. So they will figure it out and put it together, and then they'll make it work.
That is true. However, compared to the 92 Dream Team or some of the teams that they've assembled in the past, you look at this team and yes, you do have Dame Lillard, you do have KD, you do have the best lineup that is at this Olympics, but you also got JaVale McGee playing. You've got Keldon Johnson playing. It's not the cream of the crop that they could have picked. We could be looking at an American team with Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard,
Yes.
Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So, and it can't be a COVID concern, surely, because there's less COVID in Japan than there is in America.
I think those guys you mentioned, most of those pulled out, saying that they weren't going to come into the Olympics. So some of them may have already played in Olympics and got a medal, so they're giving other guys opportunities.
I think all of those guys, mate. I'm not sure about Steph, but I'm
sure the others.
Actually, no, I don't know about Kawhi either, but LeBron and AD certainly have.
Yeah. So, he's busy trying to promote a movie at the moment, talking about LeBron.
Definitely.
So,
wanted a little break.
Yeah. Well, same thing. So get some of these younger guys that give them the opportunity. They get picked differently. They've got to make themselves available. Some of them probably don't want to travel to Japan. Like, it's the team they could pick, and they pick the best guys they can for that. And they should still dominate. But
they should.
Yeah. I think historically from the Olympics, they super, like, it's either boom or bust. Like, some of the teams that they will dominate everyone, and some of the Olympics, they'll come out and they'll be like really struggle through the group stage and then get hot, which again might go to chemistry because these guys outside of maybe an all-stars game don't really play with each other, and half those all-stars aren't even coming across.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if you can find that quick, perhaps their kind of record for across the Olympics, because sometimes I think
I know they did drop one.
I think it was after the Dream
Spain. Yeah, it was like 08 maybe, or 2012. I know they did one. They did win in 16. Let's just have a look here. Basketball.
So gold for the men's there.
Yeah, so in 16 they didn't lose a game, and they won the gold medal match against Serbia by 30 points. Yeah. So
they dominated in Rio.
So very, very different circumstance there in Rio, and they won it in 2012 as well. I think, was it Beijing or was it at the Beijing they won it? Athens, Argentina. That was the failed one. They won bronze.
So 04, that team.
Oh, it would have been stacked. Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade, Carlos Boozer, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Amari Stoudemire, Tim Duncan, Lamar Odom, to name a few.
Yes, yeah, that team probably should have won.
Of course. So perhaps it's not so much the team that gets picked. It maybe has more to do with the differences in the way that FIBA basketball, international rules basketball, is played. That Argentinian team.
What Olympics was that? What Olympics was
04. The only people of note in that Argentinian team.
Where, sorry?
Athens.
Athens. Yeah, Athens.
They
They won on Beijing, so it's not like distance or country made too much difference.
Oh God, no. Like, it's just one of those things where you take all these superstars and put them together, and sometimes you get like you did in Rio, where they win the gold medal match by 30 points and no one goes close, or you have a little hiccup like you did in 04 there in Athens with an unbelievable team. Anyway,
maybe ego divas, different personalities, different teams.
You kind of saw a little bit of that sort of pressure, I guess, with the Nets this year. Like, they brought in all these players, and there was a little bit of drama here and there. Like, I mean, they obviously still killed it through the season, but
they didn't play in the finals.
Yeah,
they didn't make the conference finals.
That's it. So there's probably something to be said about
the old
too
adage.
many stars and too many.
A superstar team beats a team of superstars.
Yeah.
To go all cliche. But France has definitely showed that it can be done, and in those exhibition games, Australia and Nigeria both getting wins. I suppose our concern was, it's exhibition, they don't give a fuck. Like, wait till the Olympics comes around and they'll just steamroll everyone.
Well, they lost 3 in a row, so
it's trouble.
We'll see.
Trouble. And good for us as
it's
good for us.
I'll tell you who else is good for. Slovenian fans.
Yes.
And Luka fans.
Mm-hmm.
Luka Doncic put up 48 points against Argentina. I thought surely that's the most points ever in an Olympic basketball game. Wrong. Brazil's Oscar Schmidt, 55 in a game in Seoul 88. And Macca, God bless his soul, not here with us tonight. I put in an NBA chat, I said, Patty Mills might be the greatest Olympic basketballer of all time. He said it was an absolute cold take. So I did
for Australia, yes.
I said in general.
I know in general, but definitely for Australia. I know where you're going with this, though.
But I looked up this Oscar Schmidt bloke.
Yeah.
He's got 7 of the best 10 point scoring efforts in Olympic basketball. An absolute freak from Brazil. Wow. There's one for pub trivia for you. Oscar Schmidt, Brazilian basketballer. Probably.
The FIBA rules may suit him a little bit better.
Maybe. But definitely the highest scoring player at men's basketball in the Olympic Games.
Yeah. I just wanted to also mention that I've seen some stuff for Kevin Durant. He needs to find some better friends, because I think in the opening ceremony, the US team sung him happy birthday, and his birthday's not for another 3 months. And I think I saw a photo today, someone nicked his bed, so he's now sleeping on the floor. So
maybe they're just doing classic pranks.
It seems that way. Maybe that's why they're not performing that well.
Maybe the boys are just going,
just on holiday.
It's been a long year, we'll play a bit of basketball, we'll go have a boys trip, smash some Asahis. Smash something else. Play a bit of basketball and see how we go.
Watching too much beach volleyball, probably.
Maybe. The Opals, they kicked off against Belgium and
smoked them.
And they
lost to
spanked by Belgium, which was a bit of a shock, I think. They were up in the third quarter and ended up going down by 15 points. So the whole Liz Cambage absence might be, I don't know. You don't want to put it all on that. There is a whole bunch of other girls there, but that definitely is the big story. Whether or not that's affected the team dynamics or the morale or anything, be interesting to see. Obviously, the women's team far more accomplished than the men's team in terms of Australian basketball. Never won a gold, but have won silver, have won bronze, which our boys have never managed to do. So we'll keep an eye on the Opals, and hopefully they can
Lauren
turn it
Jackson
around.
definitely has us all back.
Definitely.
From putting those teams into those games.
You know, she's taller than me, Lauren Jackson.
Oh, of course.
By an inch.
You're a midget, come on.
That's right.
What does that make me?
Yeah, for basketball, you're probably undersized, Peps. So.
I could play 2 positions in the NBA for my height, and for my skill, I could play 0.
Yes.
Mate, do you mind searching the boxing? Did you guys see there was a little Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, little near-ibble that ear nibble that occurred. Not really sure what happened, if the bloke got DQ'd or what the go was, but it wasn't quite Tyson-esque in terms of taking a big chunk out of his ear.
No.
But he did get a little bit there.
Yeah, I think it kind of came out, and some of the boxers were a bit concerned with guys that purely using the Olympics for promotional sake.
Yep.
So, like this, for example, everyone's talking about it.
So you're thinking perhaps a ploy?
Yeah,
That couldn't give a fuck about the medals involved.
There are a few of them that don't have Olympic chances, like they're not medal chances, but they're going out there to help promote themselves. Massive stage, everyone talk about it. Like he didn't bite the dude's ear off like Mike Tyson.
No,
but,
not at all.
He made it look like it, and then everyone's going to talk about it. So
Where's he? Is he a Kiwi?
No, he was fighting a Kiwi.
So the bloke that got his ear bit is a Kiwi.
Yeah. Let's see if we can bring it up here.
Let's have a look here.
that's right. Yeah, Max, you scrolled down too far, bro.
Oh, look, we're saying it's not in like a Tyson where he
he opens it up, but he doesn't he doesn't.
You know what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's blatant.
It is blatant. There he goes.
Maybe he's just trying to whisper. No, he's just trying to whisper sweet nothings.
Sweet nothings.
Yeah.
Where's he from, that bloke?
Morocco.
Moroccan. Yeah, well, maybe. Can't imagine the pathway for Moroccan boxers to the big time is huge. So maybe any publicity is good publicity, you think there?
Yeah. Speaking of boxing, I think, is it Sky Nicholson?
Nicholson, yeah. She lost. She got knocked out. She's pretty devastated, I think. Yeah.
When we say knocked out, she lost today.
In the context of the Olympics, it went the distance. She lost on decision. And she
split decision as well.
It was very close.
Very close. And was gold medal favourite in that event too.
Was she?
Yeah. She won, I think, the world champions for her age not that long ago.
Devastating.
Yeah. Actually, I think she won a Commonwealth medal as well.
Yeah. And I think she lost a brother.
But she lost both her brothers in a car accident before she or she was super young. But before
I
she
think
was
perhaps before she was born.
Yeah.
But
both boxers, of course. So she followed the family tradition. I'm devastated not to walk away with the medal from these games.
What about football? It was happening our last episode on the Esky. We watched us upset Argentina.
Yeah. Very excited for it.
The Olyroos, that is. A bit of a heartbreaker against a stacked Spanish team.
Well, they competed well against Spain, but
didn't concede until the 83rd minute.
Yeah, and then Egypt enters the chat and ruins our whole tournament. So.
Yeah, big time. So they're done, aren't they?
Yeah, 2-0 to Egypt last night.
Last night. Yeah.
So out.
So the Olyroos are gone. Can you have a look at the Matildas? They only had the one win, which was against New Zealand, and they lost against the Swedes and the number one ranked Americans.
Yes. But on goal difference, they qualified because they scored.
Yeah, because
so 2 third place teams go through. And
that's right.
They were far and above better than the others because all the others had goal differences of like 1 or 0, and we had like 7 or something.
7?
Well, not
how many goals did we score?
So not difference score. No, it's not on goal difference. It's on.
It's on goal difference. I think ours would have been negative. Ours would have been negative. It would have been less negative than the other teams.
No, it didn't work out that way because most of them had like draws, so they were like 0 or 1s.
Oh well, maybe they went through on points.
Yeah, I think because we scored the most goals. Came through that way. Because I did look at this because I was like, oh yeah, we qualified because I was annoyed that Olyroos got knocked out after just starting so well. He just like, fuck.
Very disappointing indeed.
And Argentina went through with 2 draws, didn't they?
In the bloke.
With the blokes in our group.
Well, they couldn't have. If we had a win, we had 3 points.
Yeah, they must have beaten Egypt.
So back to the Matildas. They drew with the US. So
they're good draw.
So their goal difference was -1, not 7.
But points.
And so they go through. It's poor Zambia that misses out. Their goal difference was -8. Actually, they scored more goals than we did, the Zambians. But they only had the 1 draw, so it didn't even go down.
It's based on points on how you won. So yeah, we drew with US, which was good.
So the Matildas will play Great Britain 30th of July. That's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So massive game for the Tildas. Going up against the Brits there. And the Olyroos are done, aren't they? Can we confirm that?
Yep, they're done.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely done.
So Japan, New Zealand, Spain, Ivory Coast, South Korea, Mexico, Brazil, Egypt.
How about the
New Zealanders?
Yeah, the Kiwis.
Yeah.
Getting
All right, we're back on the backups.
That's football. That's football.
Yeah.
Gymnastics, the massive story going around the world. Simone Biles, she left the US team event after the vault. There was some initial sort of thoughts that it might have been a foot injury. She came out and just said, no, it's mental. I wasn't there. Look, we don't have to give our 2 cents because there's been about 100,000 people.
She's dominated the sport for a decade. Like,
you think she
needs a break?
but I don't know. Does she need a break at the Olympics as well? That's to play devil's advocate.
Well, I think you can get to a point where you've grinded so much, like you just burn yourself out.
She's done everything.
She's hit the absolute wall.
Yeah.
You know, she did start the team event. Like she got part through it and then was like, I've just hit the wall.
Yeah.
You know? I just need to take a break and get out of this. And you know, she's got huge support and
big time.
It's not like she hasn't performed at the at these kind of events before. She's absolutely been the best gymnast in the world for a very, very long time. So yeah, she's just hit that wall of carrying that, carrying that kind of her whole story as well, her background. So like it all adds up.
Well, and the whole sexual abuse thing is pretty fucking sticky with the old coach. So once that comes into play, you can't really question anything.
Exactly,
can you?
and you know she's kind of carrying that that mantle of trying to be promoting.
She's really advocating
that cause.
hard. That sort of stuff. Yeah,
you know she's 4'8". That is so small. That is tiny.
Photos of her, I think, next to Shaq, and they're hilarious.
I think that is two specimens of the same species. It's ridiculous to think.
Yeah.
What about...
they still got a silver as well, so they're still
did.
good team. So.
They did. So do you know if... Because she's always good to go in all the individual events.
Yeah, she's not doing any of the individuals. Nothing.
She pulled the pin.
Yep.
Very interesting. Well, I'm sure it opens up the door for some other competitors who would have been really fearful, I guess, of going up against one of the greatest gymnasts of all time. But wishing Simone all the best, and hopefully she can get on top of things there. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool story in the judo. Japanese siblings, Uda and Hifumi Abe, they both won gold in the same day in the judo. Men's 66 kilos, women's 52 kilos. You don't hear about that very often. Two siblings winning a gold medal on the same day.
And we just saw the men's, the heavyweights.
Another medal.
100 kilos.
100 kilo,
for the Japanese winning that event
another
too.
Gold medal. How good have the Japanese team been going?
Yeah.
They're leading the medal tally with 15. What are we saying? That's already...
One more than they got.
One more in
Rio.
all of Rio. We're 6 days in.
Yep. For golds, that is. And
Yep.
I think they've actually got more overall medals as well that they got in total in Rio.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely dominate. We've equaled our total that we got in Rio as well.
Yeah,
so 8 for Australia.
Yeah, so a resurgence in Australian Olympic power.
Yeah, I think the Yanks they'll come through and dominate athletics in a hot minute.
That's right. They'll come in pretty quick.
But they're probably a little bit lower than they hoped at this point. But yeah, still a lot of events to go from here.
Speaking of Japanese domination, what about the skateboarding?
Won both skateboarding medals too.
Yeah, 13-year-old. 13. Make you feel old, you know.
Yeah, well, I think the Brazilian who was 14 as well or something like that. One of the younger events, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Were you disappointed in the level of skateboarding? I was expecting some Tony Hawk's fucking...
Tony Hawk was there and he ran the course, so but he wasn't competing.
I'm talking about more the video game, you know, the moon gravity, 1440s, Christ airs, you know.
Yeah, well, video game peps, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I was watching a few 13-year-olds doing kickflips. I was thinking, fuck, I could go down the local skate park and watch this.
Well, when they get into this more... when they get to that kind of X Games level, I'm not sure if a huge amount of like the big name pros were competing. I'm not even sure if they're allowed to compete in this.
They are. Well,
I think the US, one of the US guys was.
The fella that was highly touted to win it. His name escapes me at the moment, the bloke, but Letitia Buffoni is huge, Brazilian skater. She was there. It's definitely open to whoever wants to be there. I'm glad that you mentioned the X Games because that was my next question. Do you think skateboarding has a place at the Olympics, given that we already have this pinnacle of extreme sports in the X Games? And where to now for the Olympics? If skateboarding comes in, then do all these other sports that would normally be at the X Games come into the Summer Olympics?
When you wrote this note, I had a think about it. And, you go right back in the history. Olympics was, individual, single bloke. Actually, yes, was only blokes at that point. We're talking ancient Greece here. So,
well, even in the modern Olympics, there was no women at the first modern Olympics, 1896. There was very few, and I think there was only female swimmers and athletics at 1920. So it's only 100 years of that.
Yeah, but there's really, really early events where the Olympics comes from. The Olympians was, single individual events where it was a fits of skill and talent. Like how far could you push the pinnacle of the human body, essentially? The Olympics kind of changed more into summer sports.
The Summer Olympics?
Yeah, Summer Olympics. So it's less, I guess, of an individual, Olympian aspect and more of a what are our summer sports? Right. And they've just crammed all the summer sports in it. So for that aspect, it's like, well, these things all happen in summer. So for me, like that's now fair game.
Yeah.
So anything summer sports related should probably be in there, and then anything winter sports related should be in the Winter Olympics.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned the Winter Olympics because there's a lot of crossover between the Winter Olympics and the Winter X Games.
Yeah.
So a lot of the snowboarding and freestyle skiing events that they have,
exactly the same.
Yeah, there is transfer. So perhaps there you might be seeing some more BMX and more skating events coming because they've only got the street event, don't they, for skateboarding? Is there a vert event? Do we know?
Oh, don't think so.
Find that.
But they've got the BMX, like the road racing stuff.
Yeah, but they don't have any freestyle.
They don't have freestyle, but maybe they add some of that. Like at this point, I think a lot of that stuff's kind of fair game. And it's just a now a spectacle, like it's a festival of sports that you play in summer.
Yep. Okay. So, for mine, don't mind it. Happy to see skateboarding.
3-on-3 basketball. That's taking the piss though.
3-on-3 basketball and fucking breakdancing.
Oh yeah, breakdancing. Yes.
Breakdancing is an Olympic sport. That is taking the piss.
Well, you have synchronized swimming, so.
But that's been there forever. That has been, and I don't know. Maybe I'm a fossil. But breakdancing, seriously?
Yeah. It'd be interesting. One of you,
you can't be. There's no angle that you can put on this. There's no positive spin where you can say breakdancing.
There's a lot of spinning in breakdancing.
Well played.
I want you to think your thoughts on the schedule with all. Now they've got so many sports because it's all about drawing eyeballs. I guess in an Olympics with no COVID, all these sports make more sense because they're all going to draw people, you're getting guys through the turnstiles, so you're selling tickets, etc. You're making shitloads of money.
Sure.
From a viewership perspective, the 40-odd channels and 7+, you think it's just too much and too hard to follow from someone that then can't go to the festival?
No.
Outside of like the big things that you would watch regularly.
Yeah.
But like, I guarantee you haven't watched any breakdancing.
Well, I don't think it's started yet. But the 3-on-3 basketball has started, and I have watched a grand total of 0 seconds of that.
I've seen some highlights, and it's essentially pick-up basketball where they play half court.
They play half court?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, Lamar Jackson, for example, could probably make the 3-on-3 basketball team.
I'm sure he'd do very well.
Because he definitely had some practice in the off-season in the pick-up basketball.
For sure. But
so is breakdancing this Olympics or next Olympics?
I think it's the next one, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, it's been added into
but it's confirmed.
It's confirmed.
Yes, it has been confirmed, yeah. For Paris 2024.
For Paris.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say they need to add cricket so the Indians can get a medal.
Yeah, and you might be on for a top 50.
Well, actually, T20 at the Olympics, I think, would be a shout. Yeah, it would be perfect. You got softball in there. So you don't have baseball, but you do
have baseball.
Oh, you got baseball. Yeah, so you got baseball. Sorry. For whatever reason in my head, I thought softball replaced it. Yeah. But like
they did have so they were in, then they were out, and then they were in, and they were out. So this is actually the return of baseball and softball, I believe.
Yeah, but like rugby union, rugby sevens is there. There's not the.
You could have a short and condensed version. I think T20 is built for something like this.
Yeah.
Not the 100?
Yeah, I was going to ask the exact same question, James. The 100.
The 100 can get fucked. Fives, outs. The 100. Fuck me. You know what's really depressing is just looking up on YouTube the 100 highlights and seeing how many hundreds of thousands of views they're getting, and then looking at our own channel. Maybe we need to.
All right, we'll start following that. So.
Maybe.
The rowing. 2 golds in about half an hour in the men's and women's foursomes. I think it's been probably 20 years since the awesome foursome. Great Britain, I think, has definitely dominated the blokes in that event, and it's been a bit of a mixed bag for the girls. So really good to see.
Well, the blokes dominated this tournament. They
sure did, but it was bloody close in that final.
Yeah. It Great Britain were the ones they were going left.
They went kamikaze.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, let's
It depends on which way they're facing.
That's right. Yeah.
Left to right.
I think it's right, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're
big rowing fans.
Yeah, so they'd be going right. So
yeah, nearly took out the opposition. And Jess Fox, how good is she? She finally has got that gold medal after she destroyed her qualifying pretty much in the kayak slalom event. And then unfortunate 2 penalties saw her get the bronze there. But
so missed out on her pet events. That's her big one. But canoeing, first time it's at the Olympics
for slalom.
For slalom.
Yeah, and I was looking at her competition. Didn't seem like there's many people that do both kayaking and canoeing. So it just shows her versatility. And she's finally got her gold medal. Some people are starting to call her the goat of slalom paddling, and her 3rd Olympics, she had a silver and 2 bronzes before today, and now she's finally added that gold.
I think she's won the World Championships in between both of those as well.
Multiple times.
Yeah, she's dominated.
Seen her old man commentates it for 7. That is very unusual. Could you imagine trying to stay calm and collected?
Well, there was some chat about how super professional he was when she got the bronze, and she in favourite for gold, and then misses out on it through mistakes and penalties.
That'd be hard.
To keep the calm head and to explain, like, yes, these are the reasons why she missed out on that.
To stay analytical and objective.
Yeah, well, shout out to Ian Thorpe. Probably is another one. His swimming knowledge and his commentary on that has been pretty good.
It is good. I think he's a lot like us in there's a lot of ums and ahhing and
It's his first one, but when once he gets the knowledge across, that's you can see the genius in like his understanding of swimming.
Yeah.
So,
and he'll be like, the 2017 Pan Pacs, this person won it, and the 2019 World Champs, they won this. Yeah, the knowledge is definitely there for the big Thorpe.
Yeah, well, when he was talking about the 100 freestyle for the men and kind of broke it down that the Aussie bloke preferred to breathe through his right, which meant he couldn't see his opposition.
Yeah.
So he then couldn't work out his race to how far behind, because that's
himself
exactly. So like that breakdown and picking up on those things. That's why he got an elite expert, former Olympian in himself in the commentary box to do your colour commentary.
Yeah, the greatest Australian swimming Olympian of all time. Possibly, I imagine he's probably won the most Olympic medals for Australia.
For Australia,
total.
So back on Fox as well, her mum is her coach.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because they were both Olympian.
Yeah, so her mum won a bronze medal but never won a gold, I think.
Yeah, right.
So she's now finally done one up on her mum and got there. So as a family story,
as a family, huge.
Massive. Yeah. Fox by name, Fox by nature as well there. Shout out to the boys in the groupie today discussing that one. A few shout outs for some first gold medals. The Philippines, I'm going to say 140 million people off the top of my head, possibly more. They've won their first gold medal ever at the Olympics in weightlifting a couple of days ago. And then some tiny little countries. Bermuda, 65,000. Bloke won the triathlon. And Kosovo have got 2 gold medals. I think from judo, taekwondo, one of the 2. But obviously a war-torn nation that's only been recognised internationally as a country, I think, for about the last 10 years after the Yugoslav war. they're sitting there on 2 gold medals. They're in the top sort of 15. So unbelievable effort for the tiny nation there of Kosovo.
Yeah. Is all the weightlifting done?
No, there's one.
I was going to ask you how your mate's going. So.
Yeah, it's Monday. There was some fake. So we are talking about Laurel Hubbard, the first transgender athlete to ever compete at the Olympics. She will be competing in the women's over 87 kilos, the women's heavyweight. That is Monday that goes ahead. The Chinese athlete there,
Heavy favourite.
very very well backed. I think. Has lifted like 30 kilos more than anyone else has this year. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. And the comments will be spicy either way you lean, I could imagine.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of looking ahead, what's coming up in the Olympics? We talked about athletics. That starts Friday.
So track and field coming in tomorrow is the big one. This is... The turn into the second weekend is my favourite, I think, because you've got the back end of the swimming, but the start of the athletics, you get those few crossover days going on. You're getting a really good picture in some of the team sports. You know, your soccer's going into the quarterfinals. The group stage is shaping up in the basketball. You're getting a really good look on it. But I haven't actually had a good look at the track and field program, so I couldn't really tell you what to expect tomorrow. But yeah,
it'll be all heats and qualifiers in the next couple of days before we get into some.
No, I imagine maybe in the first day, but you watch there will be medals handed out in the stadium.
So sevens are still going on. Golf had to re-postpone. The hockey's probably going to finish up soonish as well. Both men's and women are doing well in that, which is
I don't know about that either because they're 2 groups of 6. They've got to play everyone, so that's 5 games plus a quarter plus a semi plus a final. You've got to play 8 games if you want to win the gold medal in the hockey.
From my understanding so far, both Australian teams haven't dropped a match yet. So.
No, they've done quite well. So the Kookaburras had a little bit of a scare against the host Japan, and then put away your boys, the Indians. I think they accounted for them pretty comfortably 7-1. Yeah. So really good chances for medaling in both the men's and women's hockey.
Can you just go select a sport there, James? Just one of the whole. So archery is done, gymnastics going, badminton's going.
Yeah, gymnastics, there'll be heaps of that.
I think the horses,
I haven't seen much of the equestrian.
Same with fencing. Don't think any of the handballs.
I think it's away.
Fencing started,
yeah. Fencing. There's heaps
going,
of that.
Rugby 7.
Shout out to the Fijians winning the men's rugby 7.
Backing up again.
And the girls got it underway today.
And the Aussie girls at least better. So
definitely, well, defending champs.
Yep.
So be looking for a medal there. It's a lot of Olympics chat, boys. A lot of sort of comments and hot takes on some sports that we don't know too much about, but I really enjoy them. I love them. I've always been a little Olympics nerd. So ever since Sydney 2000, you know, we were just at that right age where it really sparks your interest. And now with Australia again, Brisbane 2032, I'm sure we'll be very interested, possibly for our own children. Yeah.
As I said at the top, there's no other festival or sport like it.
That's right.
Like you get the World Cups in multiple different sports, but there's nothing where you get, say, mini World Cups and you get it for all these kind of different sports all at the same time.
That's right.
There's nothing like that at all besides the Winter Olympics. So
not really the same. I think you could argue that the FIFA World Cup is probably up there.
Yeah.
But you don't get your little stories about Bermuda and about Kosovo in the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, or the individual kind of guys or girls getting to that point.
There's 11,500 athletes there.
Yeah.
So. And what was there? 160,000 condoms?
Yes.
One of them got put to use to save Jess Fox's kayak. If you haven't seen that, check it out.
She's on TV at the moment.
Yeah.
So there you go.
She's looking pretty bronzed there, isn't she, Jess?
Been out in the sun all day.
Yeah, definitely. Good on. I think that's probably. There's been some good stories from the first week, but 3 Olympics, so close, so many times, and nothing to sneeze at. Winning bronze and silver medals at the Olympics, nothing to sneeze at. But this afternoon, getting that elusive gold medal, so proud of her. Well done, Jess Fox. That'll wrap up our Olympics chat.
For this week, we will get stuck into it again next week.
Some track and field.
How many days we got left of the Olympics by that point?
So Sunday week will be the last day.
So there'll be 5 days left.
Yep. So
4 days of competition.
So you'll have to listen to us speak about the Olympics in 2 more episodes, giving our
hot takes and terrible analysis.
And our armchair expert once in every 4 or 5 year analysis of it. Yep. Love it though. It's great viewing, and sucks that there's no crowds, but at least the TV is going. And
a couple of crowds at some of the events for the ones that you can keep them very far away, so like the cycling. But yeah, anything stadium related, no fans.
Yep. You've got no fans. You've got no fans. Should we talk some cricket, boys?
Yes, let's get stuck into the cricket.
Mikey, if you would not mind, please bringing up the scorecards for Game 2 and Game 3 in the Australia and West Indies series. The second ODI got delayed, actually, because of a staffer testing positive to COVID-19.
Yeah, from the West Indies team.
Yep, I think it just went ahead 2 days afterwards. It was right before the coin toss that they had to.
They had the coin toss.
They flipped the coin.
So they flipped the coin, and then they had to call it off and send them both teams back to the hotel. Everyone tested negative, and then they could keep going. There was concerns that maybe they have to cancel the tour, cancel the Bangladesh tour, but everyone else was fine. They was only located to that one staffer, so they could keep going, which is good. They still get some cricket.
Bloody oath. Unfortunately for the Aussies, the second game was a bit of a travesty. It could have been a lot worse. What were we? 6 for 45. Can you scroll down a bit further there? I think it was 6 for 45 when Ashton Turner goes in the 12th over. And no one did anything at the top of the order there.
Yeah, well, for batsmen with Wade as the highest.
Wes Agar, thanks very much.
Wes Agar, yes, was the top, but as like a designated batsman, him in 7 there. So so he got 36. He was the highest scorer.
And steady the ship had to face a few balls and try and get us to a respectable score. And then if you told me that Wes Agar would top score an ODI for Australia.
He scored well as well.
2 weeks ago, I would have said, get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're talking about.
Batting 10. Well, Adam Zampa as well. Equal second highest scorer with Wade.
Yeah, with 36. So really, really lucky that lower order wagged a little bit there. Alzari Joseph and Akil Hussain, the best of the bowlers there for the West Indians with 3 apiece. And they actually made a bit of a game of it. Starkey bowled an unbelievable spell. And Wes and Riley Meredith. I'm not really sure. Look,
Riley was expensive,
and hasn't really stepped up just yet. Riley Meredith. Shane Warne loves him. You know, he bowls wheels. He's on that big money in the IPL, but just hasn't quite shown it yet at an Australian level. I'm sure he will come around at some stage. But Starkey finished up with 3 for 26 of his 10 overs, and we made.
He's the only one that bowled 10, and his economy at 2.6. So that's not bad.
Especially for Starkey, who can be quite
loose, yes,
quite erratic. However, this series he's been really, really good. I think he's at in the 3 ODIs. He got like 8 wickets at an average of 10 or something.
3 in this match.
3 in this, and he did well in the next one. But it was the skipper Nicholas Pooran with 59 not, and Jason Holder with 52 that got the home side the win there. 1 apiece goes to Game 3, and thank God, we got a series win. We got a series win here in Game 3. Again, the bowlers did really well, skittling the Windies for 152. Starkey 3 for 43. Hazelwood 2 for 18. You know who these 2 boys are? Brett Lee and Glenn McGrath. Stark being your Lee can be a little bit erratic at times, but just bowls fucking wheels, can terrify, can swing the ball, and Hazelwood is just line and length, top of off, frustrate the fuck out of you. I love him. Love watching them.
We just need the Shane Warne, and then we'll be set.
We got Zampa, Shane Warne, Adam Zampa. It's pretty much the same person.
He needs to eat a few meat pies, and then we'll consider it.
Definitely. See, he went the chop. He had the mullet, and then just got the clippers out.
Buzz.
I reckon maybe one of the boys might have played a little bit of a prank there, taken a little bit out, and he just had to get rid of the rest of it. But he's actually had a reasonable series there, did Adam Zampa. And with the bat, pretty frustrating for Josh Philippi and Moses Enriques. Didn't do a whole lot this whole tour.
Yeah, in both games. It was actually interesting to see that Wade top scored in this one, and so
51 not for Matthew Wade. So he's really putting his hand up for that. Obviously, there's a one-dayers, but for that T20 World Cup.
Yeah. Keep me considered, essentially.
For sure. And Alex Carey, he stood up, I think, as a captain, 35, batting 3, and we got the win. That's the main thing, isn't it? We've won a series. Yep. It's been a while. When was the last time we won a series? Fuck. We lost to New Zealand. Lost to India. In Australia. It'll be last year sometime. I can't even remember.
Pre-COVID, long time ago.
Yeah. So we won a series in cricket. And we go to Bangladesh.
Yep.
So
should win that series.
Should Shakib Al Hassan, one of the best T20 cricketers getting around over there, I will believe it when I see it.
Let's talk India, Sri Lanka. So
Sri Lanka won a game.
This India B side.
We spoke last week and we were saying we shouldn't call them India B because they're not India B. They're the India white ball cricket team.
Yes.
This team was India B. This was India B. They had the T20 series wrapped up. It was 2-0. They thought, okay, let's rest a few blokes. Let's blood a few young guys. Sanju Samson made his debut. That actually was really surprising for me. I thought a player of his caliber would have surely have played an ODI for India in the past. He captains the Rajasthan Royals. He's an excellent wicketkeeper batsman. So he got his first cap there. And then they pretty much the whole bowling core. They brought in
young fellas.
Yeah, young and old. To be honest. So Nitish Rana got his first ODI cap. Krishnappa Gotham, Rahul Chahar got his first, and Chetan Sakaria got his first cap there. So they blooded 5 guys, and Navdeep Saini played, who's only played 8 ODIs. So they went a really inexperienced side. India batted first. They got bowled out for 225. That man, Sanju Samson, made 46 on debut, batting 3. There was 49 for Prithvi Shaw and 43 for Surya Kumar Yadav. Not much, really, from the middle order and the lower order. Shout out to Akila Dhananjaya. He was the best of the Sri Lankan bowlers with 3 for 44. And the Indian bowlers put up a good fight here against the Sri Lankans, but the Lankans got the runs with 3 wickets remaining, 76 to Avishka Fernando and 65 to Banuka Rajapaksa. That man, Rahul Chahar, on his debut, picked up 3 for 54, a little expensive, but shows a lot of potential. He's a leggy, so another really classy Indian spin bowler comes into their arsenal. It's early days, but I start to think Ravi Ashwin's getting a little bit long in the tooth. This perhaps could be a future...
little changing of the guard?
Possibly.
They've got 2 other blokes that we haven't talked about at all, but not leg spinners. Not leg spinners. In Akshar Patel. Yeah.
They're just,
but in some of these games, you pick only one specialist spinner, so it's your top spinner.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd like, for any of our Indian listeners that know much about Rahul Chahar, he's fairly unbeknownst to us. If you'd like to let us know what you've seen in the comments, whether you think he could play Test cricket, whether he would be a white ball specialist, where do you see him going? He looked very impressive from what I saw in this game. The T20s are underway. The Indians won the first T20 by 38 runs. They batted first. They lost Prithvi Shaw early. The ball was really hooping around in this one. Surya Kumar Yadav made 50 again, and Shikhar Dhawan 46 to get them to 5 for 164. And in return, the Sri Lankans fell reasonably short. Charith Asalanka had 44, but it was all Bhuvneshwar Kumar who cleaned up the tail back for the Indians with 4 for 22. Game 2 and is game 2 underway? Yeah. This was overnight. Yeah. So Sri Lanka actually won game 2, which makes it really interesting here. They
only playing 3-game series.
3-game series, so it's one apiece, and we won't have a dead rubber. So we've actually got a series on our hand there. So what's happened there? Shikhar Dhawan, he's so good. But he actually
Dhawan makes runs. Water is wet.
40 or 42. So even he was struggling a little bit, and then nothing else really. Anyone of note there for the bowlers? Kind of mixed.
Yeah,
and
just
then
across the board.
Who got the runs there for the Sri Lankans?
Sri Lanka.
Watching too much Olympics, we completely missed this. Dhananjaya De Silva 40 not out for the Sri Lankans. So game 3, we've got a decider. And then the big one, we're a week away from the test series between England and India. So we'll be, by the time we podcast next, the series will be underway. It'll be day 1 completed, and we might be lucky enough to be catching the start of day 2. Yep. We'll give a full comprehensive preview of that series, our thoughts, who will have selections, obviously, for the first test. So that'll give us a little bit more of a picture. We'll have a full deep dive into that in our next episode of On The Esky.
Yes. Yeah, and then also with that news, during the week it came out, they've announced the IPL restart with an actual schedule of who's going to play what and when. I think starting early September from memory.
Have you got dates there? Have we got dates?
I'm trying to find that now.
2021 would be a good start, I reckon.
Probably.
I think mid-September.
Yeah, I thought that was from memory, so they can get the 3-game series in against England for the tests.
5. Yeah.
Well, maybe that might be a bit of a stretch. They're playing back-to-back, or they got a break in between?
Oh, they have 4 days in between each.
So every week, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of puts them right in line for the start of that. Monks, you got us a start date?
I do. So match 30 starts on 19th of September. And we go from there all the way through till October. Start of October, and then playoffs will be through to mid-October there.
15th of October, we've got the final there. Yep. And then that pretty much runs us straight into the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, well, we're halfway through the IPL season at this point, so we've got another half to go.
Long IPL season.
Yeah, let's hope we don't curse it again.
Let's go, you Royal Challengers Bangalore / Mumbai Indians / Delhi Capitals.
Yes. Hey, cricket's back. So
cricket's back. That's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of big series kicking off, so that's the main thing.
That'll wrap up our cricket news. Can you take us away for some rugby league news?
Yes, so we'll get stuck into the bumhole league.
A little wee for me.
Yeah, well, I was going to take a wee in protest and let you guys start talking about this. But
take away this story, and then I'll take away the rest of the show that is the NRL.
Yeah, well, it's not a pet peeve, but so much shit happens in the NRL, and it is shit. So it's nothing. We're not talking about the on-field product at all. We're talking about all the other crap that happens outside of it. Yeah. So we mentioned last week the Aussies and New Zealand had pulled out of the Rugby League World Cup.
Yep. Citing COVID and all that drama.
Yeah, worried about players. So it's come out, of course, since then that none of the players were consulted. Nearly 70% of the players were keen to go over. So
it was Big Dick Blandy's just flopping it around.
International League
doing what he wants.
Was pissed. Of course, there's all been talk about let's send the international Aboriginal All-Stars, the Maori All-Stars team, let's send them over. Essentially, if the players want to go over and play, we'll let them go and put it in their hands. It's their decision.
Yeah.
As Pep's alluded to, with them wanting to have the World Cup here, it's 100% political at this point. And we don't like talking about politics on our sports podcast. So we're going to ignore this fact and just say, yes, you're right, Monks. Big Dick Volanders trying to push to have it here. More money in rugby league in Australia is what they're after.
Well, as an Australian, you can't be sad about that. But, yeah, it doesn't
play
look
all
great.
the games at the stadium. Let's do it. GI Stadium now.
Have it all in Canberra. So moving back to domestic. COVID hits hard.
So
it just doesn't stop. So obviously the NRL has moved up to Queensland. We're sitting in this bubble.
Yeah,
on the
whole
Gold
sports
Coast?
in Queensland.
Gold Coast? Yep.
Southeast Queensland, essentially. Everyone's there in and about. There's a few games, of course, happening rural Queensland, which is excellent. I think Mackay's got a game and Rockhampton. Yeah, I was going to say Rockhampton was the other one. So they got games this week, which is excellent to get some regional games for the NRL. But with the COVID, there's kind of been a few breaches, fiascos, and again, stupid news. Happy Carousel was the big one.
Yeah, this is pretty dumb.
Yeah, pretty dumb. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
For
multiple reasons.
Yeah, multiple reasons. It was before the Jaya Arrow story. So in the timelines, it's come out after that story, but happened beforehand. His was game 3. This happened game 1 and 2. He was in camp. He didn't 18th man for game 1 and 2, and in the side for game 3.
Correct. Yep.
He himself snuck a bird into camp twice. He, of course, is married, not estranged from a long-time girlfriend. He's married. Had his mistress in there. So he didn't come forward. I think she did. Even contacted the wife.
Homewrecker.
I don't know what was happening.
I'm not victim blaming. I'm not.
No. Yeah. Happy Carousel doing stupid things, which probably both camps. I don't want to say NRL wives look out. The boys are on boys trip. What happens on boys trip stays on boys trip.
I thought the fuckfest was at the Olympics.
Paul Gallen came out when they had to move everyone to Queensland. It was like, well, you got all the young boys, the single boys. They're like, what are they going to do if they can't go out and be, fucking all the time? So I think there's probably a culture of it there where, yes. So, Abby Carousel, he got 2 weeks, $35K fine. Anyway, deserve it. He's got other problems.
But that is a legitimate COVID breach outside of the ethical side of things. Yeah. Whatever, personal lives are personal lives. That's a legitimate COVID breach.
Yes.
You know what isn't a legitimate COVID breach? This fucking hoopla with Jimmy the Jet Roberts, who went onto his fucking balcony for some fresh air. And it's the biggest story in rugby league, thanks to Uncle Fester, a.k.a. James Hooper.
News Corp in general, 100%.
It's fucking garbage,
100%. Because after the families were passing shit between them, breaking those rules.
There's an argument to say, okay, maybe you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. So, but Queensland government's come down hard on them, and so it's hey, you got to stay in your rooms where you got to gaffer tape up your door so you can't go out. Stupid. But then
prisoners get yard time.
But
this is legitimately the Queensland government doing a knee-jerk reaction to some of the players and their families that were passing things between the balcony, which they shouldn't have been doing.
Well,
and then
given a rule, they're breaking the rule.
But they made a rule which makes no fucking sense.
Of course. Yeah. I'm not. The rule's dumb.
And it's ridiculous.
But then you've got News Corp who have paid photographers to sit out there every fucking day. As soon as someone comes out, take a photo of them.
See, guys, this is why, please, if you take anything from the rubbish that we say and take it to heart, is the thing. The mainstream media is literally a bunch of monkeys sitting at typewriters just trying to get something to work, because this is the most ridiculous shit that I think I've ever seen in my life.
Pretty much.
They're paying photographers to sit out there and see if anyone fucks up. He just wanted some fresh air. It's a human right.
Yeah.
It's a human right, Sean.
After he'd been training, probably running on a treadmill in his room for the last hour.
Oh, my God. From a public health perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a dumb rule.
Yeah.
It's a dumb rule.
Yeah, so there was some chat that he could be banned the rest of the season.
Oh, spare me. Spare me.
Purely because the NRL was pissed because the government had told them, if you break this, we will send you all back.
So
essentially cancelling rugby league.
But don't buy into that. That's never going to happen.
I don't think so.
Out of the
They brought everyone up there. They're not going to kick
over a bloke going on a fucking balcony in his undies.
No, of course not. Of course not. That was never going to happen. But, that's the build
after the weekend at Vaughnies and after the Appy Coruscant and Jai Arrow COVID breaches.
Yeah.
To have a bloke walking on a balcony and it being on the fucking back page of the Daily Telegraph is a disgrace.
In his undies, poor
Is a fucking disgrace. The fact that we've even spoken about it on this podcast is a fucking atrocity.
Well, luckily he only got a week, so
Thank God.
yeah, even
Common sense
that,
prevails.
a small fine.
But whenever they try and spin this rhetoric, put the whole league in jeopardy, that they're just trying to sell newspapers. They're just trying to get you to tune in to NRL 360 and look at Uncle Fester's chrome dome and listen to the spew that comes out of his mouth. Buzz, congratulations, Buzz. You're my least... You're my favourite. You are my favourite. No, actually, sorry, Vonnie Sampson. But out of the men on NRL 360, I never thought I'd say this. Buzz Rothfield, you are my favourite.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring this up. We'll talk about RTS in a minute, but him leaving, is he Paul Kent getting stuck into him for leaving his side?
Kenty, spare me. Spare me.
It's like, fuck off. Like.
The bloke's been away from his family for 2 years.
Yeah, they're closing the New Zealand bubble, so all those guys are like, hey, we've got family, we want to go home. Like, can we go back? And it's like, yeah, sure. And we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it when we talk about the Warriors.
Yeah. But I just want to mention Paul Kent and media being stupid media. NRL media is just, anyway.
It's ridiculous. Listen to us. Yeah. Sit here and drink beers and have fucking 3 brain cells between us. We'll still make more sense than some of those fucking idiots.
Well, that's more brain cells than they've got between all 3 of them. So Buzz has got carrying 2, the rest have got 0, we've got 3. So
that's
we're
right.
up.
Well, you blokes got 1.5 each, and I'm sitting here with a fucking donut. I've got the same amount of brain cells as James Hooper's got hair.
Anyway, so of course, as we mentioned, all of the NRLs up in Queensland, so they can't get any more players up in there. Well, if they did, they'd have to come quarantine, which is a bit difficult. So they're talking about a whole new loan system, as in take Xavier Coates, for example.
Yep, would be a great example.
Yeah, he's in the bubble. He's training there, not getting any game time. Could he be loaned out to another club, i.e. Melbourne, because he's got a contract with them? But there's others. There's definitely others. There's
what about the Sharks guys that are out of favour? Josh Dugans.
Curtis Scott from the Raiders, the Tigers. Yep. You're kind of interested. I think long term to get him on a deal to come to Wests, but he's not. He's with the squad, but he's not playing at the moment. Maybe he plays for West. So it's not a bad idea. I don't think it's a huge need for it now. Give it a couple of weeks when there's injuries and they're like, oh, we're struggling to pick 13.
But they've already kind of gone that way. Yeah. So Jermaine Tanua-Brown did a 3-week contract with the Dragons after the Vaughan party. Yes. You look at the Roosters, for example, who have had 3 retirees, 2, 3, 4.
Not hurting them at the moment, but
4 season-ending injuries. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Roosters going to roost, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes. So I think it's interesting. But we talked about player movement, and as long as it's not Pangai Jr. going to join Penrith, we're kind of probably all. If they're free agents, we don't care. But the whole. No, you want young guys that can't make a squad to get game time for some of the clubs that are struggling. That's what you want. That's the goal.
And we did speak about it last week in that if you've done a pre-season and you've played 20 rounds and you've busted your ass, and then a bloke comes in and takes your spot for the last 6 rounds and finals, you've got a right to be pretty upset.
Yeah, it ends up being a great get for Penrith with Isaiah Yeo getting concussed. They fit straight in there. But anyway, we'll get to that talk. Perhaps you want to do some player movements for us?
Sure thing. I suppose the big one was Dale Finucane, the big bomber. He's signed with the Cronulla Sharks. Matt Moylan has also re-signed. So the Sharks are putting together a pretty handy roster for 2022 with Nico Hines and Cameron McInnes set to join there as well.
Yeah.
Do you think they're... I wanted to ask if they're a top 4, but on reflection, even with those signings, they're not a top 4 side, I don't think.
No, looking at the ladder at the moment now, you can't fit them anywhere in the
Well, Melbourne and Penrith aren't going anywhere. And you'd imagine the Roosters next year...
Healthy Roosters.
With a healthy Keary, with a healthy Joseph Sawali, with a healthy Lindsay Collins, with whoever else they're going to get with their cap space, because with 3 retirees, they're going to have a fair bit of money to spend.
Make some money moves, yeah.
So there's them 3, and then 4th is probably out of South and Para again.
Yeah.
Top 6, Manly, actually.
Manly's always a good shout for that, 4, 5, 6.
Top 6 might be a shout.
Yeah.
Top 6 might be a shout. They're after a season where they essentially abandoned John Morris early in the year. They put all their chips on the table. They said we couldn't really give a fuck about 2021. I think 2022 might be a good year for people down in the Shire. Are they going to win the comp? I doubt it. I doubt it. Are they going to put together a really nice side with those signings in Finucane and Hines and McInnes? Yeah, I'd say so. I think they'll be a bit better next year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because we'll touch on it in a second as well. But Bulldogs are doing exactly the same thing. But their season was.
But the Dogs have got so much more to improve on.
Yeah.
And again, I think the Bulldogs next year will be a better side.
Yeah,
I just don't think that they're going to.
They're starting from different positions on the ladder,
sure.
so they're kind of different.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think either makes the 8. I think the
next year
will be chemistry. The year after will be they'll be a bit higher. Both them and Cronulla and the Doggies. Yeah, I think give them a year.
It's a big take. I think Cronulla.
New coach, new players.
I think they make the 8 easily next year.
I think they'll start. They have to get hot in the second half. I don't think they'll start well. That's my hot take.
Very hot. Dane Gagai to the Knights. So he returns to Newcastle. He played 128 games there. And Jordan Pereira to the Broncos next year. It's a bit of a interesting signing coming from a Dragons fan. No hate against Jordan Pereira. Probably not an elite first grader, let's be honest. They're looking to replace Xavier Coates. So an interesting signing there. If they can mould him into a good first grade winger, time will tell. Let's go back to RTS. What are you looking at there, Shauno?
Did they do mixed swimming races before?
Yeah, I think this is the first one. They've got a mixed medley relay, I believe. I don't know how it works in terms of who.
Can you pick your order kind of thing?
Yeah, or who swims what?
Well, it looks like all the girls are swimming against girls there. So
okay. So maybe do the girls go against each other and then the boys swim against each other?
Yeah, well, the boys look like they did the first 2 legs.
Check that out.
So we just saw the Aussies. So it's the 4x100. The Aussies were second behind
4x100 mixed medley relay. This is the first time that this has happened.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Again, add more swimming events that Australia could possibly win medals at. So we'll take it.
And they've never had mixed events in the pool before, but you've got mixed events in archery. You've got mixed events in. There are others.
So we qualified
tennis.
4th for the final. So we might actually get the final before the show's out.
No, it'll be tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah. So there you go. 4x100 mixed event. RTS boys.
Yeah. So as mentioned,
lost a legend.
Yeah, huge. I think he's probably super undervalued since he's moved from Roosters to the Warriors. Like how awesome and talented he is.
Yeah.
But if you're a Warriors fan, you know all about RTS. And if you're a Roosters fan before then, you definitely know all about RTS.
And if you're a fan of rugby league, you know all about RTS.
Yeah. So he's been released for his contract earlier. He's, of course, going over back to New Zealand to play rugby. But
who's he playing for? The Blues? I think he might be playing for Auckland. Obviously, hands on hearts, not big Super Rugby fans here.
Well, they're not playing that Super Rugby at the moment. It's New Zealand comp versus, and then there's Australian comp, so they're completely separate.
That is right.
The main reason being with all the COVID in Australia, the New Zealand-Australia bubble is ending. They're closing that up. So a few New Zealand players, he wasn't the only one, heading home. 1, family reasons. 2, just to finish out where they're doing, they're moving on. So they want to go home. They want to be in New Zealand. Fair to them. So he's moving back. Did you guys see the haka today with all the New Zealand blokes or all the Kiwis from all the teams kind of coming together and doing a massive haka for the two guys?
Giving him a send off and well deserved, Roger.
Yeah.
195 games for the Roosters and Warriors, 20 games for the Kiwis. Won the comp with the Chooks back in 13. Yeah. 2018 Dally M winner at the Warriors, who didn't do a whole lot
He was by far the best player on that team.
Yeah, leaps and bounds ahead of anyone there. It's interesting. The Warriors are actually throwing some money at that man that's just crossed over there for the Roosters as we talk, Joey Manu.
Mm-hmm. They got Reece Walsh there, who's probably their one of the future. But yeah, they can add some.
Well, he could play in the centres. He could play six.
Yeah, I guess
I really like what I see out of Joseph Manu playing six. He's so versatile. He's playing on the wing.
Manu, yeah.
He's playing on the wing tonight. But it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Fuck, that is some weak defence. He just has cruised straight through there.
Yeah. We'll talk about that game in a minute. To finish off RTS, I think it's been unfortunate his last game. He played 15 minutes before he went off with the HIA. So, unfortunate. But he's had a great career, and I'll be interested to see what he does in rugby. I can't wait for him to be playing for New Zealand and absolutely destroying the Wallabies.
Yeah, surely the All Blacks find a spot for him. Mind you, very, very difficult team to walk into.
Definitely. Oh, he's not going to walk into that team, but the level of talent that he's got in that step, he will show what he's capable of, I think, and then they'll find a spot for him.
Yeah, I agree. Paul Vaughan got a 1-year contract with the Dogs starting
prove it deal
starting next year. Yeah, a bit of a prove it deal. Obviously, well covered. Let's be honest.
yeah.
The whole party at Vaughanies. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can resurrect his career there. And a big re-signing, that being of Craig Bellamy for the Storm. 5 years, is that what's being reported?
Yeah, 2026, I think, is confirmed when he'll finish up. Rumoured to getting about 1.5 mil a season, over a mil, so he's getting decent money, which helps to stick around.
Yeah, rumours I was hearing was about 1.4 to 1.5.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pay anyone that, you pay arguably the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah. Well, here's a question for you. Is he the GOAT of coaching?
Oh, off the cuff. Max, can you bring up Craig Bellamy coaching statistics? I think I was
Who's in the conversation?
Well, Bennett.
Yep.
Wayne Bennett. Do you want to go back? Like
anyone? Pick who you think.
From my era, it's a 2-horse race, isn't it? Between.
So I've got a third.
Yeah.
Tim Sheens.
Tim Sheens. Run us through Tim Sheens.
So him and Wayne's got 800 games played. I think Sheens has slightly less. He's slightly more games won than Craig, but he's coached 300 plus games. So Craig's big stat, 70% win. Bellamy's, not Bellamy's, Wayne Bennett's is 62% and Sheen's is 50, if not a bit lower. But he was the first coach for the Cowboys when they came out of the comp and they fucking stunk. Right. So he's got about 7 years where he had a under 20% win percentage. So you take that out, he won 3 comps with Canberra and he won a comp with Wests. In between, he's coaching for Cowboys. So he won 4 comps.
Yes.
Bellamy's won 5.
Yep.
Wayne Bennett's won 7.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing, and the recency bias is massive.
Yes.
So I've just looked at the all-time kind of thing. Do we go back to, say, an Arthur Halloway in the 1930s that well, in the last, none of us have ever heard of.
Yeah, but in the modern era kind of rugby league, at least since the 80s.
Yeah.
It's those 3 blokes for me.
Yep. And for mine.
And I'll throw some other things out. So Tim Sheens and Craig Bellamy never won an Origin series. Wayne, of course, won several.
Yep.
Wayne and Craig never won a World Cup. Tim Sheens has.
Okay.
83% win percentage as Australian head coach.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think Wayne, from memory, was 800-ish games and he had 500 or so wins to get to his 60% average. Excellent average. He's won premierships at 2 clubs. Tim Sheens won premierships at 2 clubs. Craig Bellamy only with Storm. So you can pick and choose what you like about each one.
There's no clear answer.
It's those 3 for me. If I had to pick one, I'd say Wayne slightly ahead because 7 premierships across 3 different decades. Origin wins as well. Put that in there. Yeah, he hasn't won a World Cup. That's probably a net in the hat for Tim Sheens. But, having a 62% win percentage from 800 games is pretty impressive compared to Craig's 400 and something.
I'm going to 100% agree with you, which is a very, very rare thing that will happen on the Esky. The thing is...
We're just looking at the resumes and comparing them. But if you look at where they are now, club level...
This is the current resume.
Yeah.
Does one consider the future resume?
Well, Wayne's 1,000 years old at this point.
It was him and Buzz Rothfield that were there when the serpent tempted Adam and Eve.
You got to remember, Craig's only been a coach since 2003.
Yeah, and he's just signed on for 5 years with a team that's looking like they will probably win the comp this year, and we're probably going to be really hard to beat for the next.
So that 7 number, he probably gets to that. So, if he coaches to the same age that Wayne is at the moment, I think that's probably another 20 to 15 years for him. Yeah. He could have a very, very good record.
So let's agree on something. As it stands, Wayne Bennett is the GOAT of NRL coaches in the modern era.
Yep.
That's the caveat there. In terms of potential, Craig Bellamy will most likely become the greatest rugby league coach of all time.
Well, I'll put it this way. Like if I'm picking a club coach, probably Craig. If I'm picking a State of Origin coach, I'm picking Wayne. If I'm picking an Australian coach, I'm picking Tim Sheens. So that's where we're at the moment.
What do you do most weeks? You coach
club footy.
You coach your club.
Yeah. I mean, how many opportunities would Wayne have had at coaching the Australian team? Because if he's coaching club footy...
he's probably been offered it plenty of times and turned it down.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got Matty Johns just coming up for a retro round. Got some good kits on him, don't they? Liam Gallagher. Oasis. Duffman's there.
Anyway.
Talking about the goats of sports fucking shit talk shows.
Something to aspire to.
Let's move into our preview of round 20.
Yeah.
And looking back to last week, we had 3 close games.
Finally, close games.
3 close games. The Raiders-Eels game that happened whilst we were podcasting last week was really good.
It was an excellent game of footy.
Jordan Rapiner, that challenge on Micah Sevo.
I think during the potty I said it was fair for me. He hits him with hip and nothing like hip and high thigh, like nothing knee or shoulder. Like that's all fair to me.
Okay,
hits him in a nice area. Doesn't hit him in the head or anything like that. Like that's all fair. That's a fair challenge.
We could go far on this. It is last week's news. It's done.
Yeah.
The Raiders get the win. There was still a few blowouts.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's blowouts.
So South put up 60. Manly and Cronulla scored 44.
Yep.
But there was no...
Titans beat the Dragons.
22 point margin. That's not blowout.
22-point margin, I think, is a blowout.
No, 30 plus is a blowout.
Well, Cronulla put 44 on Bulldogs, but that's only a 22-point. Actually, there's a 20-point margin, so it's less.
It was less. Anyways, we'll get to it in a second. What's just unfolded in front of us?
The pretenders have been beaten.
They have been.
Yeah.
And who are the pretenders, Sean?
The Parramatta Eels. 13-5 so far this season.
We'll make that 13-6.
13-6, yes. Only beaten the Storm in the top 4, I think, from memory.
And that was in round 3.
I think it was even round 2. I think it was even earlier than that. So it was...
I think it was round 3. But
I think we looked at that. It doesn't matter. So no one good of note. Coming in to take on the battered Roosters. And the Roosters have held them scoreless. Was it 26 or 28 nil?
28-0.
28-0 final score. Mm-hmm. That plus 13 again. Hand on heart, boys. Who'd you pick?
Hara.
You picked Roosters?
And you can check.
Well, I mean, the thing was, if I picked the Roosters, that's a curse. We all lose. If I picked Eels, I was probably going to lose anyway. So I was losing either way.
So they did it with, again, we're talking about how injury ravaged the Roosters are. You can add Billy Smith and Matt Ikuvalu to that list.
Can you find some try scorers for this game for us, Max?
Yep.
And we've only been watching it in a quarter screen up there, but it just seemed like one-way traffic, didn't it?
Just ran all over them when they needed to. It looks like Eels had a few chances. They got rejected, but every time I looked up, the Roosters were beating them in some point. So, did you have try scores there?
Yep. So we had Morris,
First game back for him. So he got axed last week. So,
Josh Morris.
Yeah, needed to maybe refocus after what happened to his brother. So they've sent him down. He is now back. Got a try. Who else?
Yep. We had Tupanua.
Tupanua.
He was going to get that wrong. Walker, Tapau, and Manu.
I don't know how much of this I can play before we get
About 10 seconds.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Pretenders.
Yeah.
They're pretenders, bro.
Oh, big time. The Eels are pretenders. Did Sam Walker get a try?
No. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Sam Walker got a try. I think I saw that one.
That Joey Manu one that we
Joey
saw.
Manu one. Whoever was playing 7 for them looked like did all right too.
Jacob Arthur.
Yeah. So
the coach is young bloke. Mitch Moses still not available with that broken back.
No, for Roosters. Not Eels.
Sammy Walker.
Sam Walker.
Oh, no. 6. Must be 6 then. He's playing 6.
Hutchinson's back.
Hutchinson's back for them. Yeah, looked good. So, yeah, they win. Eels stink.
Paris doesn't do anything in the postseason, surely, in the finals.
They probably finish 5th now. Let's say they finish 5. I'm going to say Manly 3 and Roosters 4.
No, Manly won't come 3rd. South have only lost 3 games.
South. Yeah. So anyway, Eels won't be in top 4. That's my point.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're 5 or 6, that they'll then drop to whoever's. They'll drop that first game.
So before tonight, Para were 2 points clear of the Roosters. They're now equal on points, but the points difference is still in Para's favour. But I tend to agree. I think the Roosters jump into 4th, and Parramatta will drop down to 5th.
Yeah,
maybe
and they'll get bounced out round 1
by the Dragons.
No, the Dragons losing the Titans aren't making it into the finals.
Time will tell.
Their final chances. I think the Raiders might sneak in at 8. They've hit the form at the moment.
They really should. We'll get to them in a second.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a snooze fest tomorrow night in terms of these games. Should we breeze through them?
Yeah, let's go through them. So
the West Tigers take on the New Zealand Warriors at Suncorp Stadium. It's a double header at Suncorp. The Warriors got smashed by the Bunnies, put up a 60 burger last week. Adam Fanua-Blake, you guys see what happened to his finger?
I did. The compound fracture, and you can see
nasty.
Cut it all the way through. You can see the bone there.
Apparently, it's not. It doesn't need surgery, and it's not going to be too bad. So he's going to miss this week, maybe a week after, and he'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of deep lacerations, Blake, do you see Blake Ferguson? He got
massive
a big inch gash and was bleeding all in the top of his head. So he was they taped him all up and then they put headgear on him to keep him playing. So that was a bad cut.
Poor Fergo. I couldn't think that you could make that head any worse.
Scars get chicks, bro.
Yeah, they do. And so do 45.
His nose doesn't.
45-degree noses.
Just ask Cooper Gronk.
Shout out to Sergi Fergo. We love the Fergies, all right.
So the Titans in their respective game, they got turboed 44-24.
They got turboed big time. They got DCE'd as well, as well as turboed. We'll get to that in a second. Adam Dewey's looking good. That's a bright spark for Wes.
Yes.
They'll be without Alex Seyfarth and Luke Garner this week. Well, I think possibly for the rest of the season.
Who'd you boys pick in this one?
It's a hard one to pick. To be honest, full disclosure, I won't be watching this game tomorrow night. Neither of these teams will be playing top 8 footy, you'd think.
Yep.
I went the West Tigers. RTS going home, I think, is massive for the Warriors. I think they've put a line through their own season. Now it's a lot of how can we develop Reece Walsh? How can we get Matt Lodge comfortable? How can we start thinking about 2022 for the Warriors, I think.
I picked the Warriors because I think if there's the emotion of all that, this will be the game they lift.
Yep.
And they'll put 40 on West. That's my shout here.
Hot take. Might have to get the odds in the over and the total game points, perhaps.
Yeah. I picked Tigers as well.
$50 it's a bit short.
Yep. So they are favourites $1.50. Warriors are at $2.60. We've got a line of 6.5. So
what's the total game points there?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
I'm taking anything over 52.
55.5.
Yeah, I probably still take that. I think. I know from what we've seen last week, it's just there's points galore other than 2 games.
Yep.
Broncos, Cowboys.
Snore.
A little bit of a snooze fest.
Cowboys lost 5 straight.
Yeah. They started so shit, then they really started looking good in the middle of the season, and then they've gone back to shit. The Broncos, they were down 18-0 to the Panthers and staged a bit of a late comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Finished
Got 2 late ones.
18-12. Shout out to fucking Payne Haas.
Yeah.
He is a freak, man. 72 minutes, 43 tackles, 14 tackle busts, 213 metres game. Mm-hmm. And some people are reporting, as a 120-kilo bloke, he might be the fittest person at the Brisbane Broncos.
I think there's some chat as well, like he's the fastest over 40 too.
Yeah, he's an athlete, man.
He's a freak.
He's a fucking athlete. And
that's why the conversation for that 10-year deal
years,
is...
And as we were talking about last week, and you so kindly ruined my joke that I had sitting in the top of my head, not in any notes in front of me, about it being longer than a Jennifer Lopez.
She's back with Ben, so...
Is she? Hey,
for some gossip there.
Really? No A-Rod.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah.
J-Lo. Super Bowl show. She is doing very well for her age.
Yes. I don't think Ben's punching at this point for his age. Anyway.
We digress. No Xavier Coates. Mm-hmm. Has he been blacklisted? Has Kevy gone, okay, you're not playing here next year. You won't be playing first grade this year.
I don't see why not. Like it makes sense from that aspect. Like get some of the young blokes in.
Does it though? Like
they've got a new young debutant coming through. The teenage freak, massive bloke forward.
Yeah, can you bring up that team list there, Monks?
Yeah, but
scrolling up.
I forgot to mention it with Gagai going to Newcastle. That frees up Milford to go to Souths. So there's some chat that Milford might go to Souths.
Yeah, yep. I have heard that. That Tessie Newey's playing fullback for them. He's going all right, but they've gone Corey Oates and Jermaine Asako on the wing over Xavier Coates. I can't imagine, based on talent, either of those guys are better than Xavier at the moment. But
yeah, Oates a bit out of form, a bit out of favour, but he has played Origin, and Asako he's a talented guy, but he just doesn't put it all together.
We always talk about Asako in that he's probably not a premier fullback, but he's always pretty good on the wing and his goal kicking.
Yeah, but both those guys, I think, signed with Brisbane for next year. So
it seems unusual that a bloke can play State of Origin but not make the first grade side for a team that's coming 15th.
Yeah, true.
Anyways, the Cows, they were actually really impressive last week against the Storm. Didn't quite come away with the win. Nearly pulled off the upset of the year. We looked at the odds before the game. The Storm were $1.03. It was a 30-point line, and it actually went right down to the wire. The Cows can technically make the 8. They're 6-12 at the moment. They do, however, play Manly, Parramatta, and the mighty St George Dragons. 3 of their last 5 games. So you wouldn't think with that stellar opposition that they'd be coming through that. I think that's enough about this game. Could we get some odds and tips?
Brisbane here.
I went the Cows. Horrendous form. Yeah, actually, now that we speak about it more, I probably think Brisbane probably more likely. But both teams out of top 8 contention in reality.
The only good thing about this is it's a Brisbane Cowboys game, and they always seem to be fire.
They do.
Yeah, their table position probably doesn't help this game from some of the other excellent Brisbane and Cowboys games.
What was that grand final? 16 grand final? 15 grand final.
You should know. Half that team is now playing for the Dragons.
They do. That was the Ben Hunt drop ball game.
That's right.
That's only 6 years ago, and these were the 2 best teams in the NRL.
Yeah.
Monk's odds and tip?
Yeah, I've gone Broncos as well. They are favourites, $1.77. Cowboys are out at $2.05. Line is 2.
Yeah, not going down. Do you want to talk about your mighty Dragons and how they're going to get pumped by South?
So mighty. I'll tell you right now, I didn't tip them. And
South by a lot.
I think the big thing out of this, and we spoke about it before, is that the whole COVID situation is at least allowing some rural Queensland towns get a game of rugby league. So this one's going to be up at Brown Park, Rockhampton on Saturday afternoon. The poor Dragons, we all tipped them last week and they fucking played like dust. Yes. No Corey Norman. I don't think his inclusion would have made any difference. This week, the 3 outs due to the Vaughan party. Jack Bird, Jack DeBellin, Blake Laurie. That's 3 big outs. They've got young Jaden Sullivan playing 6 with Corey Norman in the centres. South's coming off a 60 burger against the Warriors.
Wouldn't surprise me if Souths have the shortest odds of this season in this game.
Of just the season?
Yeah, with the guys in here.
I think
maybe a shout.
I think of the round.
For this round, definitely.
I don't think of the season. Melbourne were $1.03 last week.
What are they paying? What are they paying now, Marks?
What were Penrith when they were on
They were $1.03. I was thinking $1.03 in this one. What are they paying in this?
They're paying $1.07.
$1.07. Close. Okay.
It's a good shout. It's a good shout. What about South Sydney 113-year history? Mm-hmm. Only 4 times they've put up 60, and one of them was last weekend.
Yep.
Adam Reynolds, he had a minor hamstring strain during the week. He's still named. It'll be interesting to see what happens if he plays.
Probably don't need him.
Might not make a difference. We've all tipped South Sydney here. I imagine a few Judas's down here.
Yeah.
We've already got that game line. We've already got the game odds. What's the line there, Max?
Line is 24.5.
What's the total game points? Because South love to score points and have a little bit of a leaky defense.
Yeah, so it's 54.5.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think this will be a bit of a
South could do that themselves.
Tri-fest, they sure could, and I hope they don't. Moving forward, the Knights take on the Raiders, who are 3 on the trot.
Did Knights win last week?
No, they got really towed.
Oh, that's right. They got towed
up by the Roosters. No Mitch Pearce still for the Knights. Do you mind scrolling that one up? And Jordan Rapana, that's the best game he's ever played at fullback. Let's be honest.
He actually plays games at fullback pretty well. So he's in the.
No, I don't think that display last week. He never played that well.
That's his best game, I think, ever. So, he's definitely played games at fullback better than he's played at wing. But of course, he's getting way more ball and involvement from that position. So, I like Rapana. So,
261 run meters, 15 tackle busts. What the hell?
And his positional play in defence, I think, also helped massively.
Obviously, that try saver and Micah Savo to get them the win.
And we mentioned how Papali and his big noggin getting that shot. He did actually fail that HIA and miss the rest of that game. Hopefully, will be in this one.
He's named. I think it's pending another HIA.
Yep.
Mitch Pearce named in the reserves, is he?
Yep. He's 21.
So extended bench.
Probably not playing.
Probably not.
See what happens there.
I'll back the milk.
Yeah, I think the milk. I think they're going in the right direction. I think Newcastle's going in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Storm Penrith. Oh, Max, go. Give us some odds. Hurry up.
Get some odds.
I'm sick of the bumhole league. Come on.
This is your own team.
Got to draw this out for as long as possible. Raiders are favourites, $1.65. I think I've tipped them as well. Newcastle are out at $2.25. Line is 2.5. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving into which was really shaping up to be one of the games of the season. Unfortunately, injuries might have robbed that. I am talking about the Melbourne Storm taking on the Penrith Panthers. Both teams have only lost 2 games this whole season. 7:30 Saturday night.
Yeah, I think Storm getting healthy, Panthers getting more hurt.
For sure. Yeah. And the odds will reflect that. We'll have a look in a minute. Big news out of Penrith is that Brian To'o is out with a syndesmosis. I think he's having surgery. Is that confirmed, or were they going to wait?
It says, I think of the note when it came out, he needs surgery. So I don't think as a winger he could play with that kind of injury.
Is there any position syndesmosis? Yeah,
especially in a sport where you got to run a lot. So which surgery 4 to 6 turnaround. I think they'll probably do that with the hope that they'll see out the rest of the season and he'll be back finals time.
Cam Smith was saying during the week that they prepared last year for the GF for Brian To'o just as much as they prepared for Nathan Cleary. That's how much respect the Storm showed him. Tyrone May has an MCL strain. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. He does need surgery there. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go under the knife.
So that's a massive blow.
Which is unfortunate because this should be the best game
of the season.
Probably the season. Yeah,
and bring up the odds. It's Melbourne
Storm
are very, very short favourites.
Yeah, I've picked Storm too.
Yep. So they are favourites, $1.15.
$1.15.
Crazy to think 12 rounds ago that it'd be like that.
And it's a completely different story if everyone's available. We should mention Isaiah Yeo and no James Fisher-Harris.
Yep.
Pangai
should play first game this one. Has he been named?
Yeah, he should be named. Is there no Pangai. Extended bench? No. So no.
Interesting.
No Pangai Jr.
I would have thought he'd play this week.
No Pangai Jr. just yet. So, yeah, look, on paper, Melbourne should win this pretty comfortably, you'd reckon? Who's playing 7 for Penrith? Because Tyrone May had been playing 7.
Well, it'll be Burton and Luai in the halves, I'd say.
So Burton goes to 6, Luai goes to 7.
Yep.
Sunday, so a less interesting game here. The Canterbury Bulldogs take on the Gold Coast Titans. I do want to mention we did talk about the Titans dusting up my Dragons. David Fafita, he went nuts.
Run out your little blokes, of course.
Yeah, I think you were right. You were right in that. But that's what you should do on the line. You should attack people like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make him soft.
No, I'm not saying soft.
I think the wording was wrong last week. I think it's smart. I think it's smart play. Perhaps in an Origin arena when there's blokes that can tackle a bit better, they don't get found out so well. But he scored.
He can't defend. Is probably other. That's probably where the soft bit comes into it.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not wanting to put my neck out the chopping block and call when
he runs over a second row and scores a try. Come and talk to me.
All right.
Till that
and maybe when you stand on a goal line and tackle him coming at you, then you can call him soft.
Yeah, because he ran at me. Because he's soft.
I think he's one of the best athletes getting around in the NRL, and I think to call him soft is madness.
Anyway, think of someone your own size.
He has 12 tries this season. That is 3 ahead of the next forward in the Hectic Cheese. Speaking of forward scoring tries, Jared Wallace scored a double last week for a prop. That's how good St George are at defending at the moment. And the Dogs went down 44 to 24 to the Cronulla Sharks. Luke Thompson cops 3 weeks for that late hit on Blake Brayley. Yeah. It's a shame because he was really good. Can't imagine there's too much interest in this game, lads. I've gone the Titans.
I think we all picked Titans. They'll probably be favourites.
Yep.
By a lot, Max.
Titans all around. So they are favourites, $1.25. Bulldogs are out at $4. And the line is 12.5.
12.5. $1.25 is not bad value there. I would have thought for the Gold Coast Titans trying to make a push for the 8. And the last game on Sunday afternoon actually goes up to Redcliffe, the home of the Redcliffe Dolphins. Cronulla take on Manly. Both of these teams won last week, 44 to 24. There's a little bit of numerology for you.
But Manly by all the points.
Sean Johnson is out. He's done a hammy. And Manly just destroyed the West Tigers last week. DCE had a great game. He scored 2 tries, 2 try assists and 200 run meters. But that man, Tommy Turbo, give that man the $10,000. Give him the Dally M. 327 run meters a try. He is the best rugby league player in the world at the moment. We talk about him every week, and he deserves to be spoken about very highly. You know who else who should be spoken about highly? Morgan Harper. He scored a hat-trick. He's coming along really well. That centre pairing with him and Brad Parker. Hank Scorpio, he goes by. So Harper and Parker looking really good. Manly maybe a smoky to push some of the Premier teams later on in the season. I think we would have all tipped Manly here. Have you tipped Manly?
I've gone Manly.
Can we get some odds?
100%. So they're pretty good favourites at $1.15. Sharks are out at $5.50 at the moment. And we have a line of 18.5.
Take it.
I probably would be taking it. What were we talking about in the groupie today? Tom Trebojevic has 15 tries. He has played 10 games.
10 matches. So
10 games. Yeah. So
1.5 average.
Yeah, 1.5 a game, which means if he was to play a full 24-game season, that would have him 36 tries.
Yeah, he'd be 27 currently at this point if he'd played.
Unbelievable.
Which would be 3 ahead of where Alex Johnson is before he got injured.
Unbelievable.
But like Johnson, Fox and him, that pace is just unreal.
Yeah. So it's pretty scary to think that man is on track to win the Dally M, and he's played half of the games that some blokes have played this year. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that makes you think as well. Maybe he's not a shoe-in for the Dally M in terms of getting points, but you'd imagine those 10 games that he's played, he's at least scored a point, and in most of them, he's gotten the 3.
Oh, big time.
Do you reckon because he hasn't played as many games, he's sort of been able to keep up that pace in between injuries, or?
Well, you got to throw 3 Origin games in there. He's had the soft tissue problems with the hammy at the start of the year. I don't know if it's.
Was he played 10? He's played 10 straight, hasn't he? He missed. Oh no, he's
no. Well, he would have missed games through buys for Origin, where he would have played Origin instead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they rested him. Yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, you are right.
So he missed the first 5 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5 or 6, and I think he's
with
rested at least 2
he,
through Origin.
3 he wouldn't have played for Origin, and then
I think he backed up for one of them, and then
but the camp.
Yeah, but the Origin was bye rounds, so they didn't have actual games.
No, one of them was. One there was no games, and then one was a half round.
Yeah, and I don't think they played that round.
So he would have missed 1 through the camp.
Yeah,
and then either way, he's missed 10 games.
I think he was rested for 1 or 2 of them around Origin to help with
backing up.
Yeah. Anyway, he's elite. What are we talking about?
He's the best player in the world. He's going to win the Dally M after playing half the games. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, that'll wrap up our NRL chat, boys. Let's talk about some AFL.
Yeah. In direct comparison to the Bumhole League, the only stupid news that came out of the AFL was we've decided to ban boxing because the Hawthorn players during their training concussed each other. So Mitch Lewis, I think, was on the end of an uppercut, which ended up in him being concussed. So they've now enforced the rule there's no boxing/sparring between players in training.
This is a knee-jerk reaction. This thinks of a Peter Volandis reaction, actually.
Yeah.
Where do you think more concussions would occur? Playing a game of Aussie rules football, or the boxing sparring that you might partake in part of your fucking strength and conditioning in training?
Yeah, and it was
ridiculous, stupid.
Yeah, in the last probably 20 years where they've used this, like boxing, and they've used it regularly, you've had one bloke have an errant punch. So like,
I don't want to waste much breath on this. This is so dumb. Luke Beveridge was pretty scathing of it. Obviously, he thinks a bit of boxing for strength and conditioning is very useful. But yeah,
I think the Western Bulldogs coach came out as well and said the AFL shouldn't come in and be telling us what we can and can't do about training and like enforcing those kind of rules.
Well, that is Luke Beveridge.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
You never listen to what I say.
No. I ignore 90% of what you say anyway. Yeah. But, the only point I wanted to make was, NFL will enter the chat there and it explains like, we can definitely will imply what we want you to do. Training, limited pound prices, limited communication, limiting, how many walkthroughs, whatever. Like they'll do whatever they want. So, maybe this is a slippery slope where it starts, and then the AFL will start pushing that similar NFL kind of agenda for what you can and can't do in training. Maybe. Let's hope not, and let's hope we never have to talk about this again.
Something else I'd like to never talk about again is COVID restricting team movement and where the grand final might be. Still no crowds for Victoria for at least another 2 weeks. Yeah. The South Australian teams have been allowed to go home.
I believe so. That's the case. They can go back to Adelaide.
Just remember, if the ball comes near you, just duck, and there's sweaty men out there and whatever else that supposed experts said a few weeks ago on the Esky.
Make sure you get your Sani on you.
Eddie Maguire, he wants to do a ring of steel around the G to get it good for the grand final. He reckons you could set up a perimeter. People have to get tested to go in or out. I don't know how you get 50 to 100,000 people in. Doing that sounds like a logistical nightmare. I guess it's all going to come down to how many cases the Victorians have. And to be honest, they've been trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I think they had one random case today, but...
Beautiful. I think they're going good.
They're going good. Not
better than
compared
New
to
South
Sydney.
Wales.
No. Did you see yesterday? It was like, 70-something cases? And I was like, yeah, good on you, Sydney. We're going good.
No, it was more than that.
And today,
Well, today was more. I think yesterday
was
No,
200.
yesterday was like 170.
I think it was 170, but it was like 50 infectious ones. And today was 270.
Yeah.
Double ton, Jason Gillespie. All right, AFL round 20. Let's have a look. St Kilda take on Carlton tomorrow night at Marvel Stadium. The Saints went so close but so far last week against the Eagles. That's 2 weeks in a row where they've gone really close to upsetting a top 8 side. They are still only 2 points outside of the 8, and there is an absolute logjam between 8th and 12th. Max King had the best game of his young career. He booted 6 goals, and Zach Jones had 32 through the middle. Carlton.
You love them, don't you?
We were talking about it last week. We said they've got a really favourable run home. You know, they had.
I think we all picked them as well. So
Of course we did. They're playing the worst team in the competition.
Who could you not? How could you not
you
pick
do
them?
realise that Monkey and I conspired. So we picked both the Dragons and Carlton just to fuck with you last week.
That's what it all came down to. Both the Carlton Football Club and the St George Illawarra Dragons, who I'm sure all listen to this podcast, go, oh wow, let's really fuck with this guy's emotions and let's all lose on purpose.
Oh, we're just the curse.
The curse is real, ladies and gentlemen. The curse is real. Not only did they lose to the bottom of the ladder, North Melbourne Kangaroos, they lost by 39 points.
Yep.
And they were up at halftime by 2 points, and they got absolutely fucking steamrolled in the third quarter.
So
They really did miss Harry Mackay.
yeah. Do you think if you're the president of Carlton Football Club, do you think that's where you put your line through your head coach and go, oh, we're not right here. We need to make a change?
No, I don't think it's all Teague's fault. We've spoken about how Brendan Bolton got such a long run.
Yeah.
And Teague perhaps having he does have a better list than what Brendan Bolton had, but I just
Losing the North, so
horrible. Yeah, disgusting. Is that one man's fault in David Teague, or is it the 22 blokes that were out in the football field and all the support staff and everyone else around that club? To focus on one bright side, Tom de Koning is coming on really nicely. The young ruckman, he had 22 hit outs, 17 possessions, and he took a hanger. It's really nice to see a ruckman that can fly and take hangers. I've taken a total of 0 in my reserve grade AFL career.
well, you can only jump about 3 inches off the ground. So
Plus my height, that's quite high. Especially if I...
well, it's not classed as a hanger, though.
No. Where's Caleb Daniel? I might be able to get on his shoulders. And unfortunately, Zach Williams and Eddie Betts are both out for a few weeks. What have we gone here, boys?
Well, did you pick him, Judas?
No, I won't St Kilda. It's disgusting. A week ago, we were going...
They can make the finals.
They can make the finals. The hype's up. A massive effort against Collingwood the week before. And yeah, you go out and get pants by the team running dead last.
Yeah. It was the last time we believe in you and Carlton. So, yes, I've gone South Kilda as well.
Yep.
Oh, geez, I've gone St Kilda as well.
Yep. Hopefully that's
it's a good tip.
Yeah, hopefully that's a curse and the Blues get some sort of miraculous win, but...
Don't say that. Give us some odds, Max.
Yeah, well, if you believe in miraculous wins, Carlton are at $2.46. St Kilda are favourites, $1.55. Line is 11.5.
1.5. It's not bad, actually.
I don't know. Shout out to Michael Stevenson, listener of the Esky, good mate of ours, stuck in South Australian lockdown, really wanted to see Carlton get a win and get his morale up, and yeah, really left him wanting. So,
Yeah, they shadow all over your hopes and dreams. So
big time.
yeah,
So,
as they have done for the last
25
years?
years. 25 years? Yeah.
your entire adult life. So let's move on. West Bulldogs taking on the Crom.
The Crom. The Crom actually had a win last week against the Hawks, 19 points there at Marvel. Rory Laird was very good.
Tipped him over you.
30. Yeah, I think we all did, didn't we? I think we all
Would
did.
surprise me.
Reverse
We
curse.
love the Crom.
Reverse curse for the Crom. Rory Laird, 36 posies and 2 goals. And the Dogs, They got a win over the Melbourne Demons.
Doesn't count, no fans.
No fans, doesn't count. Joseph McGrath, if you're listening, it was the usual suspects for the Western Bulldogs. Jack McRae, 38 disposals. He has one game this season under 30. And the Bond, the most likely, the hot favourite the favourite for the Brownlow medal. Marcus Bontempelli, 31 possessions and 2 goals. Have we got teams here? Josh Dunkley.
Should do, so they.
Yep.
Josh Dunkley in.
I'm looking at the wrong game.
I've, of course, picked Bulldogs in this because it's
Yeah.
they should win this by a lot.
And Easton Wood in, Josh Dunkley in. So that is 2 massive ins for the Dogs. I think they win this quite comfortably. It's at Ballarat.
It'll be fucking cold.
Yep.
Odds.
And that's coming from
got
us
the Dogs?
Canberrans.
Yeah, I've gone Dogs as well. Sorry, yeah. So they are favourites $1.06. Adelaide is out at $9.30. Line is 38.5.
Yeah, take all that.
You probably take all of that. Who knows? It is a mighty Crom.
Oh, actually, it'll be wet and windy. I don't think this will be high scoring. Ballarat's, it's not.
Have you looked at the weather?
Yeah, well, just in general for weather, it's like playing in Tasmania. So it's.
I think the whole southeast of the continent at the moment is experiencing some high winds.
Yes.
And
Yeah, which may cause the points to be down a little bit.
Could be.
So total points are 142.5. So
fuck all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck all. So, try to reflect that. So yeah, maybe I'll stay away from that.
yeah, that line's might be a bit steep.
Unless they're expecting Bulldogs to score 100 of those. So
Well, yeah.
Let's move forward into the next game. North Melbourne and Geelong. The dream crushing North Melbourne Kangaroos. They beat Carlton last week. Carlton's actually their bogey. Well, or vice versa. Carlton North has the wood over Carlton. We got there in the end.
Mm-hmm.
They've won the last 5 of 6 games against them. Nick Larkey had the best game of his career last week, booting 7 for the Kangas up front. Taron Thomas and Jaden Stevenson both chipped in with 4 and 3 goals respectively. Geelong were way too good for the Richmond Tigers in the grand final rematch. It was the usual suspects for them. Tom Hawkins, 4 goals. Cam Guthrie, 34 posies. Danger, 28 and a goal. Water is wet. This is the bottom of the table.
yeah,
North Melbourne Kangaroos taking on the second
yeah, they'd be second.
Geelong Cats.
Yeah, I want to go out on a limb here, and I might not know this. Is Mackay leading the Coleman at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Hawkins is behind by 6 or 7 from memory.
I'll look that up now because...
so I think Tex is up there too. I think
Yeah,
actually Tex might be second.
I think he was 3rd. I'll have a look now, but with Big H not playing last week, that would have hurt him a little bit. No, you are right. Harry is on 52.
Yep. 46.
Texan 46.
43 for Hawkins.
45 for Hawkins. So
43 for Josh. For Bruce.
It's just Josh Bruce kicked 43 goals.
I think so.
Let's have a look. It's pesky. You get the top 3 on this app, and then you've got to scroll right down and go all players. Josh Bruce, 43 goals, very well done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jack Rewalt is one ahead on 44.
Yes.
And Ben King from the Gold Coast, 43. Buddy Franklin, 39. And then Bailey Fritsch, the first small in there.
How far is Buddy away from his 1,000? Because he's free to play this week. He got off.
Yeah, he had to go to the...
We're jumping ahead a little bit here. But
Yeah, we'll talk about it now. He had to go to the tribunal. He got off. Protected species, perhaps.
Oh, nothing in it. Fuck yeah.
There wasn't much. I love Buddy, but I tend to feel if this wasn't Lance Franklin, then it might have been a different...
we need him to get his 1,000 this year. Let's make sure he gets out.
That's right. There's not going to be a pitch invasion because we can't have fucking...
There'll be no crowds. There'll be a pigeon invasion because that's all that's there at the moment.
Plenty of pigeons. So we've all gone Geelong here.
Right, in this game, Geelong by all the points.
The line, I imagine, is more interesting than the head-to-head.
Yep. So Geelong are favourites at $1.10. North Melbourne are out at $7. The line is 36.5.
Yep. All
36.5, I'm taking that all day, every day.
Where are they playing this?
Taz.
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, the weather in Melbourne in Taz. That's a different question.
The Roos are a different animal down there in Tasmania.
Yes.
It's almost like they should play there every weekend.
I agree with that. Yeah. What was total points in that, Marks?
140 something?
Did you say
152 and a half.
Ooh, I don't think they'll get there.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I think maybe the best bet there is Geelong at $1.10. That's possibly the only really safe thing there.
Take that, and that's what you want.
With a bit of swirling weather there. Yeah. This Gold Coast Melbourne game.
Some heavy favourites this week, by the way.
Yeah, there is. There's no real blockbusters.
Yeah, well, it's the top 8 taking on the bottom 8, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. And another one of those is the
top 10 taking on the bottom 10.
Gold Coast. You fucked that one up too.
Yeah.
Top 8, bottom 10. 18 teams. There we go. Quick maths.
Yeah.
Gold Coast Suns take on the Melbourne Demons. Have we got a ground confirmed?
Is this Metricon's in Queensland?
They're playing Metricon. Metricon. The Suns, they were well beaten by the Lions in the Q Clash last weekend. Braden Friorini was very good.
That game actually was closer, and then second half, the Lions just turned it on. They as they should have.
Sure.
But they're a bit worrying signs early, but yeah, they turned it on and got over the line. Well, smoked them in the end. So.
And the Dogs,
the D's lost to the Dogs.
Lost to the Dogs. It's one apiece. There is the trilogy going to be the grand final? I suppose.
Could be.
There's a team that we just spoke about, the Geelong Cats, might have something to say about that.
Maybe if Brisbane get back to the form where they had a month ago, then they might be in that conversation. But at the moment, I'd say it's D's and Dogs.
And then you'd say Porter a touch behind there, the flat track bullies. Yeah.
And don't think Richmond are going to be there.
No, God, no.
There's a team we're forgetting about that
Sydney Swans.
I thought the Swans, but it might not be the Swans.
You're the one telling the story, dude.
It's not West Coast. I'm just looking at the list trying to remember who it is. Don't matter. Ignore me. Keep going.
I always do. I imagine we've all gone Melbourne here. Melbourne. Again, the line might be more interesting than the head-to-head.
Yep. So Melbourne are favourites $1.21. Gold Coast are out at $4.45 at the moment, with the line at 25.5.
Now, Melbourne have been pretty putrid against some lower teams, so perhaps that's one for punters to keep in mind.
They play to the level of competition. Yeah.
One for punters to keep in mind is maybe overs on Oliver and Petrarca, because every week they show up. The Pies take on the Eagles. That is a 2018 AFL Grand Final rematch.
They announced a new captain
of
for the Pies.
Oh well, Scott Pendlebury is done for the year with the fibula fracture. Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped ahead of you there.
I'm not sure who gets the nod there. Is it side bottom perhaps?
They announced. I thought I saw something today where they announced who's going to captain this squad, but I could be wrong. Or they could be talking about who's potentially going to captain this squad. But
can you have a look at that?
I'll look it up.
Collingwood skipper for this weekend.
Yeah. What are West Coast doing though, Peps?
They were good. They got home last week, I should say, against St Kilda. Dom Sheed was really good. He had 32 and 2 goals. But obviously the big hoodoo around them is playing Victoria, especially at this ground.
Yeah. Well, you may have missed it. What I just did there was change my tip to Collingwood, because it's like, this is an MCG. Yes, I don't think they're going to. The West Coast will West Coast and not win this game.
I also tipped Collingwood here. I do think it really should be a good game, but West Coast, they're 10 and 8. They want to play finals football, and so they should, but they have to be able to do it in Melbourne.
I think they get a few guys back, don't they, from injury this week?
We're making Monks work hard here.
Sorry.
So it is side bottom. It is side bottom. We'll get
side bottom is captain.
And the ins are Petrocelli and Redden in. Flan Ryan out and Hutchings out.
No, maybe I misread that. It's all good.
It's all still
odds, Max.
Not too bad. I imagine West Coast are favourites.
They are favourites. I have
massive favourites.
Tipped them. No.
So you pick West Coast. Yep.
So, yeah, we'll see. So our favourites are $1.60. Collingwood are $2.35 with the line at 7.5.
Yeah, it's a pretty close game of footy, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of close games of footy, the Essendon Bombers take on the Sydney Swans Saturday night.
Did you get us an answer for how far away Buddy is from his 1,000?
He is at 983.
Ooh.
17.
Will he get it this year? It's going to go close.
We spoke about it last week. I think if he plays every game, he's definitely a shout. So we're saying he needs to kick three a week because they will get that first round finals game, and he kicked 2 last week. So that's only just brought him a touch underneath. Have you got the stats up there? 983.
Yeah.
He's kicked 39 this season. 17 goals to go and 4 regular season games plus a guaranteed final. So quick math, 17 by 5.
It's 3 points up.
It's less than 3. It's 3, nearly 4.
Yeah, well, it's 16 in 4 games.
It's 3
so 5 games to 17 is it's 3 points up, mate.
I think this is way too long on our quick maths.
Anyway, let's hope he gets it this year. That's why I got off. Well, that's my pure speculation here. The reason he got off is so he can chase 1,000 this season.
He needs less goals per game than beers per podcast I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Significantly less.
Whatever it is, he's averaging 3 goals a game his entire career.
Correct,
so,
which is
he's on track.
He's on track. He's got to be on track this season.
Big Budweiser.
So they take on Essendon, as mentioned before.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who kicked more than 3 goals last week. Isaac Heaney kicked 5. He was really good. Ageless Josh Kennedy had 34. Bombers a bit disappointing. I think we all tipped them, didn't we?
They were ahead and then it imploded, which is funny for Bombers.
Howdy ho.
Yeah. But the Giants came straight back into this game and took them over and won this in the end.
We mentioned it before. There's that log jam between 8th and 12th, and Essendon sit right in that. So be a massive, massive game if they can get a win up there. They're playing this one at the Gabba against Sydney, but I think Sydney's just getting hot at the right time. I've gone the Swans.
Yeah, of course. Same here, Swans.
Monks, any Judases?
Big Judas down the end of the table.
Yep. Yeah. No, after last week, I've gone Swans as well. They are favourites at $1.36. Essendon are out at $3.72 with a line at 18.5.
I'm not keen on that line. I think because Essendon's they've been close losers in a few games, so I do think it'll be a close one.
Yeah. I just want to interrupt. Have you guys seen that Shohei Ohtani's up to 37 home runs for the year?
Is he really?
And he's also brought his ERA down too for his pitching. Like he's just getting better. He's a freak. Sorry, we just had an ad for baseball. That reminded me.
Quick baseball chat.
Quick baseball chat. Like absolute freak.
Well, let's do a bit of hockey chat. The Hockey Roos are playing the Kiwis at the moment, and that chick's just caught one right in the scone. Mm-hmm. That would hurt.
Yes. I think the end of the first quarter for them. Do they play thirds or
they play quarters? Yeah, I thought it might have been akin to ice hockey with periods, but it's quarters. It's
that's the end of the first.
Nil all. We'll keep an eye on that. Mm-hmm. Let's round out Sunday's games. Hawthorn play Brisbane, University of Tasmania Stadium. The Lions, as aforementioned, way too good for the Suns in the Q clash. Lincoln McCarthy stepped up with 4 goals as a small forward, and Jared Lyons did his business as usual. He had 33. Hawthorn went down to the mighty Crom. I imagine we've all gone Brisbane here, and possibly the line might be more interesting than the head-to-head. This is like an NRL round.
This big time is like an NRL.
Yeah. Might be a good round to Joker if you're in tipping and you can play a Joker. It seems like there's in most games a pretty clear favourite.
So yeah, Brisbane are favourites, pretty clear favourites at that at $1.15. Hawthorn are out at $5.50.
I would have thought they'd be shorter than that. It's Hawthorn. After Hawthorn's last week.
I guess it is in Tasmania. Hawthorn akin to the Roos.
True, Tasmania.
In playing a bit better in Tasmania. Tends to be a bit harder to score.
Let's give us total points when we get to amongst. But yes, Lions for me.
Yep, so line is 28.5. Total points is 142.5.
A lot of that might come down to the weather in Launceston.
If it's clear, sunny day, no wind, all the points.
A lot of ifs.
which is a very, very big if down in Tasmania.
Buts on the north coast of Tassie there. GWS take on Port. Have we got a ground for that game, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, well, if Adelaide, Port have gone back home to Adelaide, then...
No, but this is a Giants home game, so it shouldn't be in Adelaide.
We are back up at Metricon.
So they have to flow out. So they let them go home, I guess, for a little bit, and then...
I think after this
Oh,
week,
okay,
perhaps. Yeah.
What around 20? Yeah, okay. Don't worry. Ignore me.
Always do. Lockie Whitfield was really good for the Giants last week in their 13-point win over the Bombers, and Port got the win over Collingwood in Travis Good Bloke's 300th. He had 30 in his 300th, 4 goals for Big Charlie Dixon. This will be an interesting game. Port obviously clinical this year in playing teams below them.
Yeah, I back Port in this.
I've gone Port too. I think the Giants have been doing some good things later on in the season here, but I do think Port might be a little bit too strong for them.
I think they surprised Essendon, and they didn't squeak past them, but they got a decent win there. I think Port's a different beast, and Port will beat them in this.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Monks, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, I've gone Port as well. They are favourites $1.48. GWS are out at $2.67 with a line at 12.5.
Now their overs 156 up there in the Gold Coast. You'd imagine it'd be a little bit higher scoring than a blowy Tasmania game.
Yeah.
Sunday evening, a really big game in terms of finals implications. Freo take on Richmond. Both teams are 8 and 10. They're both pushing for that 8. They're both just outside of it at the moment. Are they 9th and 10th?
10th and 11th.
10th and 11th?
Yeah.
So they're all equal with Essendon and St Kilda, 2 points behind the Giants. That Fife, the big news for Freo, 2 shoulder dislocations in 2 weeks. Went into surgery under the knife. He's done for the
I'm not
year.
sure did he have a complete Rico or did he...
I'm not sure. I'd imagine
I'd say so that if he dislocated it easily, they're going to go in there and fix out the reason why it's popping out constantly. So
there's a lot that can go wrong with the shoulder. There's
big time.
Yeah, there's a lot that has to do with ligaments, musculature, rotator cuff, the actual shoulder joint itself, labrum, capsule. There's a lot that goes on with the shoulder. So, in terms of what they've done with the surgery, have you been able to find anything there? They're normally pretty vague.
Yeah, they just say surgery.
His
season's done though, so he's not coming back. Has Dusty been released from hospital yet? Because he did have an extended stay in hospital, more than he expected.
I imagine so. It's been nearly 2 weeks. Which would seem like a long time for...
No, maybe hospital, but I think he's not recovery. He's soreness. There was some news during the week that it was longer than he kind of expected.
I can't imagine it's pleasant.
Yeah, I agree.
You'd be pissing blood. You'd be, flank pain. If anyone's ever heard a kidney or anything back there.
Have they said Dusty season's done? I think.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is huge out for Richmond. So I guess both top premier players for each club are missing.
That's right. No Fife, no Dusty. So perhaps they cancel each other out. A really big out for Freo is Michael Walters. He's had a serious hamstring injury. So they'll lose a little bit of goal kicking power there.
Yeah. And for Richmond, Bolton, I think, has been a bit unders for them in the last couple of games. So he really needs to step up.
Yeah, he fucked my multi.
Speaking of that, he fucked my multi.
He fucked my multi.
Is Sean Darcy in the team? Yeah, he's been struggling with the knee. He played all last game, so...
Yep.
Named? No in and out? Yeah.
Followers, Sean Darcy.
Yeah, so I think heavily strapped. Knees for a big man, probably not a great thing, but we'll see how he goes.
No. This is probably it's definitely the most enticing game of the round. Over there, Optus Stadium, 2 superstars out. I've gone Richmond.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've also picked Richmond.
It's
a coin toss.
Yeah, this one is a real coin toss. But I just think with with the experience of guys that were playing in a grand final. You know, we do speak about it on the Esky. Richmond aren't the same team that they were last year, but you've got a bunch of blokes that won a fucking grand final last year. You'd imagine that they might be able to get the bickies here, but yeah. What
do the odds reflect that, Mark?
It could be a coin toss, but it's definitely a curse because I've gone Richmond as well. They are $1.50 favourites out against Fremantle at $2.51, and the line is 9.5 with the total match points of 146.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll punt it. Actually, I probably put a same game multi on this, but very interesting game. Finals implications. It's it's one of those 8-point games that we talk about in premiership points.
This big for both their seasons.
Yeah, massive. And you actually highlighted this a few weeks ago, didn't you? You said Fremantle and Richmond one to look out for because we'll have big finals implications. The loser goes to 8 and 11. You'd imagine in a bit of strife.
Yep. Oh, definitely. There's a long road to come back from there.
For sure. Yep. That wraps up our AFL chat. A sport that we love is really heating up over in the United States of America. Pre-season games are just around the corner. Training camps well underway.
Kicking off this week. So I think everyone is in camp officially as of today because I think all the late starters were on the 28th, or at least most of the league is. So the big probably talking point was NFL hardline stance on the unvaccinated players. They sent out a further memo about guys wearing, make sure they're wearing the tracking devices and submitting to tests. If they don't do either of those two things, there's big fines, like $50,000 worth of fines kind of chat. So there's...
What's the go with tracking devices?
They wore them all last year. So it's only in facility. So when you come in the facility, you can wear the wristband.
The wristband.
Yeah, the wristband that is, say, a GPS tracker, purely so they can track close contacts.
Right.
So they know who you've been in, which is what fucked Denver last year because they close contact was a QB and they're like, well, you've been in the QB rooms, all the QBs are out.
With it.
Yeah. So there was some talk about cancelling games as well. So... your team if your team has to reschedule a game because of COVID, you're forced to forfeit.
But the big thing was if you're forced to cancel because you've got unvaccinated players that have an outbreak. Yeah. So that's what they're really trying to make a stand on.
Yeah.
Is the vaccination rates.
They'll say that, but the league's never fucking cancelling games because TV money. They made Denver play a fucking practice squad wide receivers quarterback.
That's right.
So. They say this, but it won't ever happen.
That's right.
As long as if they can have people playing the game, they'll play the fucking game.
Brucey from the longest yard was starting quarterback for the fucking Denver Broncos.
Pretty much. So yes, I think it's a threat that they won't ever follow through on, but they're going hard on the unvaccinated players.
Yeah.
Some of the team, I think Washington has one of the lowest at like 60% for the club.
Yeah.
And Ron Rivera is, pleading with his players get vaccinated because I'm autoimmune. Like I've
he's got some health issues.
Well, he's had cancer last year, so he's just like you're putting my life at risk essentially if you get it. Being vaccinated doesn't mean you can't get COVID. It just means you will survive COVID, and then your body will be able to fight off it.
And it's like a 98%. Like there's a 2% chance that you might get it, and then it's much less severe.
Yes, big time. So
either that, or it's Bill Gates controlling your mind, and it's 5G, and 50,000 people should protest in the streets.
Yes. So it's interesting. There's two extremes. Like a lot of the teams are either heavily vaccinated or they're half. Like they're floating in that 60 to 70 kind of bracket.
So Washington was lowest at around 60%?
Yeah, they were one of the lowest. I'm not sure if they are the lowest.
Right.
I'd hate to be in a Bills locker room because the Bills GMs kind of come out and said, if unvaccinated players are going to put us at risk, we will cut them.
Yep.
They've had like the linemen come out and being super supportive for vaccination. The wide receiver Cole Beasley, very much. He even had a statement today about like he's pro-choice and about his decisions for why he wouldn't want to be vaccinated. But they're making it very hard for him. Yeah, he read a big long statement today, and it was like, okay, cool.
I'm not sure what abortions have to do with with being fucking vaccinated.
I think I wouldn't have used those words, but that was in his statement. So that's his choice.
He's pro-choice for vaccinations.
Yes. As in, give me all the information and then I can make an informed decision on what I want to do. And my informed decision is I don't want to be vaccinated.
It's not very informed then.
There's this whole hoopla about all that and the restrictions and the back and forth about what unvaccinated versus vaccinated players. The league essentially wants an 85% or more, so they get herd immunity, so they don't risk the season. I think that I read I can't remember who it was, but an agent kind of alluded to a team and inquired about a free agent player and then inquired if he was vaccinated or not, unvaccinated player, and was like, well, sorry, we're not interested in that player anymore. So it's
becoming a thing.
Big implications.
Big implications at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
and what about the biggest name? DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, he did tweet about it. He didn't want to putting his team in a position to hurt them just because they don't partake in the vaccination. Questioning his future, possible retirement.
He's too young to retire.
No, he deleted this tweet, I think, as well after that as well. So some of the players not happy. The NFL and the NFLPA are kind of on the same side here, and they're really pushing for it. Some clubs have no issues with this, of course, but who knows? At the end of the day, it's a business. They make fuckloads of money.
That's what it comes down to, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And if your employer says you've got to do that to stay employed, then isn't that they're
high
right?
chance of being employed? Yeah, like Cole Beasley. If he missteps one out of line, the Bills might just be like, "Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. See you later."
We spoke about it when this Cole Beasley shit came out, but I really used to like Cole Beasley. Undersized. So he's strong as fuck for 5'8".
Yeah.
Anyways, the Coco, we'll talk about it every week. Something else that we should talk about every week is fucking Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The Bucks got their Super Bowl rings, and Brady posted a photo with him wearing all 7.
Yep.
What do you reckon the dollar value on his hands was there?
Well, I think each one's at least 50K each. So quick math, 350K.
350, yeah, that's pretty good. Let's round up. Let's say $500,000.
Yeah, exactly. I think ones he got early in his career have less diamonds. Ones he get now have more diamonds. Yeah. So, and they're getting more increased. The whole idea of being able to take it apart and have a fucking stadium inside it, just add some zeros. So. But I think he did a 4 or 5 minute speech, but his end line kind of finished it off. He just came out and said, my favorite ring. I don't think he was asked a question. I think he kind of rhetorically asked himself the question. It's like, what is my favorite ring? The next one.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's fucking go.
Always says that.
That's kind of his mentality at the moment.
Mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I will say he does look like a 40-year-old man trying to look like he's in his 20s at the moment with the tan and the haircut he's sporting at the moment.
Lifestyle.
So, a bit too much.
He's going full Florida. Florida man.
Florida.
Speaking of one great quarterback to another, you guys catch this Aaron Rodgers interview today?
Yeah. So, timeline. I think early last week, the Packers broke off conversations with Devonta Adams about a long-term contract. Wanted to be the highest paid wide receiver. They've basically...
He's probably the best wide receiver in the league at the moment.
He's got a fair claim to it. He should be paid more than he's currently being paid. That kind of alluded to, they're moving him on, which of course is going to piss off Aaron Rodgers. They then posted both like a last dance, the picture, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen picture from the last dance, as in kind of alluding to this last dance. Rodgers then came in, they redid his contract. I'm not exactly sure how his contract works out, but my understanding is they've restructured it to the point where he essentially has all the power. So if they don't trade him next year, my understanding, correct me in a minute. If they trade him next year, that's all good. If they don't trade him, he can possibly retire and still get paid, which was kind of the main thing. So it was just like, if I don't want to be here, you got to move me on. If you don't move me on, you got to pay me out, see out my deal, which I think is 3 or 4 years. Monks, do you have anything different?
Yeah,
So
regarding the contract?
Yeah, nothing's official, nothing's been signed yet. But like you alluded to, so I think one of the main caveats is they've gotten rid of the 2023 clause. So the Packers won't be able to franchise tag him.
No tags.
Or anything like that. Contract will end at that point.
So is he a free agent after 2023?
Yeah.
But
I believe so.
He'd have to play the next two seasons.
No, I think it might be after the next season.
Next season. So you'd have to play at least the next
So
season.
it's 2023 option, I think, on that contract.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess that the next point is the Packers will agree to review the situation each year at the end of the season. The biggest thing for Rodgers is, like you said, no financial loss to Rodgers from contract renegotiations, and they've put in place mechanisms and stuff to allow Rodgers to address issues with the team. Hopefully that means some of the rostering stuff that he's been alluding to that he hasn't had a chance to.
Which I think goes back to your point, talking about his press conference today. So he reported to training camp, wearing thongs or flip-flops.
He got long hair.
Long hair, big shades. He had an Office T-shirt on.
Yeah,
the Office,
yeah. Big time baller. So, but his press conference and
he didn't hold any punches.
No. Went all in, kind of put out his reasons why he wanted more say in how the team was run. Like, this impacts my job.
Yep.
You're drafting quarterbacks, not wide receivers.
that was probably implied. But the whole recruitment process.
Yeah, not signing veterans that didn't give him the respect they probably earned or deserved.
And he listed probably 10 guys.
Over 10. But easy.
Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers. Few of those.
Woodson.
Charles Woodson come to
Clay
mind.
Matthews.
And essentially said that the organisation was showing them no respect in the latter, the back end of their careers. He really went out hard against his own organisation, and fair enough. If you're pissed off and you're the reigning NFL MVP, I think he's got the right to be talking like that.
Exactly.
This was all at the front office. It wasn't as coaches. It wasn't at team members. It was just organisational.
Yeah. Yep. So, and they made the NFC championship. I should get this right. They've made that the last 2 years running.
Yep.
They're a game away.
Yep.
Give me a couple pieces to put me over. That's where he's at.
Yep.
So they have traded for Randall Cobb. So Cobb's back in the building.
They've got him. Yep. They've got him. And does Randall Cobb put them over that line? No.
Yeah, he's not the same player he was a couple of years ago.
Of course not.
He's definitely older.
Of course not. But it's the whole institutional, let's low, and that, I think, that was the exact words that he said, was they're lowball guys, or they don't even offer him a contract after they've put in years and years of servitude to the club.
And I think the straw, and he kind of talked about this in this interview as well, was, I don't know his last name, Jake. He said last year he was wide receiver number 2 out of training camp. Kumaro. So Adams, of course, won. So he was the second best wide receiver out of camp. I thought we should probably make the squad. I kind of alluded to how awesome a camp he had. You cut him next day.
Yep.
You just shout all over me. Like, there's no respect to my thoughts or my recruitment process.
Yeah.
Guys I knew coming out of college, guys like work with my agent. Like, these, I can help in this area.
And for an Aussie connection, for our Aussie listeners, to go to the sport of cricket, the captain of the Australian cricket team will always sit down with selectors and say, I like what this guy's doing.
Yep.
We could use him here. I'm not sure about this guy. They've got clout. They've got a say. The fact that your franchise quarterback is so disrespected in your organisation that he can't even have a say in these meetings, especially, we're not talking about Rodgers trying to, speak for a cornerback or a fucking kicker.
Yeah.
A guy that he's got to have
direct
chemistry with and directly implicated with, and the front office just says, no, we'll just do whatever we want. He's got every right to be fucking pissed off.
Yeah. I agree with you, but also I think the NFL is a meat factory. These guys come in, they grind them out out they go.
Yep.
Next guys come in. The clubs will always be there. So
You're replaceable.
yeah, exactly. So there is that aspect that, like, take all the other quarterbacks in the league. Not even Tom Brady, I don't think, gets this kind of respect. He probably said, "Hey, go get me Gronk," and they said, "Cool, that's a great idea."
No, I disagree. I think Brady has these meetings. I think it happened at New England, and I think it happened at Tampa Bay.
I don't think it happened in New England with the way that team's built. I think nope.
Maybe not New England. I reckon I think
you got to remember how egotistic the NFL is. Like, every single level has an ego.
I'm not disagreeing with you, and maybe
you have to find the rare situation. So
it's super rare. I think what Aaron Rodgers have done is, like, kind of, as I said to you guys, he's pulled his dig out and slapped him around. That he's kind of shown that if I'm the MVP, I'm at this position, I'm at this point in my career, like, I'm out if you don't come to the table.
Yep.
So he's used his position, his leverage essentially. I don't think many quarterbacks have that leverage. And he the reason I bring up Tom Brady is, like, you look at his free agency and how that kind of went down. A lot of clubs didn't want him, and you were talking about the GOAT of bloody quarterback play. Like, it's crazy to think that even he couldn't have the leverage where he needed to. I still think he's had some leverage, but he's still going down to Tampa Bay playing with Bruce Arians. Arians building that offense around him, using his kind of schemes as well.
I mean, he brought Antonio Brown back into the fold.
Yeah, probably from recommendations. Like, I think Brady, if any, probably had some, but I don't think he's got the clout that Aaron Rodgers is kind of trying to push for, and with his contract and what they've got now. I think that'd be the only two. Like,
I disagree.
There would be no one else in the league that would even get remotely close to where those two will be.
You think Peyton used to have that kind of clout? No,
not for roster decisions. No, not at all.
You don't reckon?
No, for some of what they did.
What about like a guy like Brandon Stokely? A guy like Brandon Stokely, who athletically had no right to be a 1,000-yard receiver. You don't think Peyton's there saying, "I want Brandon"?
No, I don't think they overlapped. I think they were different years because they picked up Wes from Patriots. We're talking about
Peyton at the Colts.
Oh, at the Colts, yeah. But when
and Brandon Stokely was a 1,000-yard receiver,
together
multiple times,
together. But that I don't think that was.
And I
don't think that was Payton's decision to get that guy into.
I'm not saying it's his decision,
or to keep him around.
You don't think he had input?
No, not in that decision.
No,
I think Stokely's play, like a 1,000-yard receiver, you're not going to get rid of that bloke straight away. But I don't think to draft or to sign him, Payton had that conversation about, hey, go out and get this guy for me.
I don't know if it was that, but
I don't think Payton had any of those with what the Colts did. Because if he did, he'd say, go get some defensive guys. We're good on offense. Because they never did that.
Yeah.
So it's...
Didn't they have...
And even with Denver, I don't think...
Didn't they have Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis running amok?
Well, towards the end of his career, not early.
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah. But they still weren't good defensively. Like, Payton carried that team for decades.
Yeah.
In Denver, I don't think he had that kind of clout for what kind of... I think he did for the offense and some of the game plan and, helped Adam Gase get multiple head coaching jobs, but I don't think he was in there talking about this guy's excellent...
So you don't think Payton was saying, I want Wes Welker, or DT's unbelievable, I want to keep him? You don't think he's having that conversation?
I think they'd ask him for him, but I don't think he was the deciding factor.
No, I'm not saying that.
We don't have to be the deciding factor.
I'm just saying,
be at the table.
Just being there at the conversation.
Well, if you look at the NFL now,
I'd say he would probably had a piece of it. I don't think he's got what Aaron Rodgers got now. That's what I'm trying to say.
So if you look at the NFL now,
but like,
how many other quarterbacks do you reckon would be in that position? So you've got Russell Wilson, who
current one, Russell definitely,
and during the season it came out that
they're building that team to run the ball. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, you did have
maybe
Drew
Patty
Brees.
Mahomes, but he might still be too young.
What about a guy like Brees? Yeah. That's been in the comp for 20 years.
Would have had any?
I reckon for sure.
Maybe, but then I look at that receiving core over the years and maybe not so much.
Mike Thomas.
Yeah, but they did pick him in like the 3rd or 4th round. Like, he wasn't like, go get me a 1st round wide receiver. No,
that is true. Anyways. Maybe that's a good segue into Mike Thomas. We can wrap up. And the take home message is that Rodgers is looking like he will play this year.
Oh yeah, he's playing. He's playing for the Packers, which is excellent for the Packers.
It's massive. They've got Randall Cobb.
They've gone from missing the playoffs to possibly Super Bowl, so it's a big change.
The Adams situation, it seems like he will stay.
Yeah, he'll play this year and then he's gone.
And then
that's the way I read it. I think both him and Rodgers. This is their last season. That's what they're alluding to.
All the chips are on the table.
Yeah, everything.
It's 2021 or die.
Yep.
Mike Thomas, he had ankle surgery. He's going to miss the start of the season. Mm-hmm. Same ankle that he hurt last year.
Yeah, struggled with.
Went from being the most receptions ever for a wide receiver the year before last into an injury-marred, underperforming season last year.
Be interesting to see what he does this year with a blind quarterback and a tight end.
He's not blind anymore. He got LASIK.
And a tight end throwing him the ball, Taysom Hill.
Yeah. No, he's in the punt returner.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill earns more than the entire WNBA earns.
Yeah. Yes, I do know that.
Because he plays like half a team of football.
Yeah, I suppose on position basis.
Like 10 wages.
Bloody Russians are overtaking us.
Yeah, the Aussies punching above our weight, aren't we? We are still talking about the NFL.
Yes, yeah, keep going.
Jets assistant coach Greg Knapp, he unfortunately passed away after a bike crash. 25 years coaching in the league and 9 years before that at Sacramento State, so nearly a 35-year coaching career.
Yeah, was it Denver? Was it Raiders?
Yeah, everywhere. Hit by a car whilst riding his pushy in the Bay Area. So just wishing his wife and 3 daughters all the best. A tragic accident. The NFL is so strange in that it's so big. There's so many players, there's so many staff, and I hate to say, to liken a person to being a statistic, but that you see it every year in that there's always a tragic death somewhere in the league. Do you know what I mean? Just because of the sheer size of it.
Well, not even a league.
Dominoes, sorry.
Yeah, but the people getting hit while out cycling. Like it's Alonso at the start of the year getting hit while out cycling, and I think there was another one as well. Like
it's tragic.
Yeah. People don't pay attention to cyclists on the road, and
it's very sad.
Yeah.
And wishing his family all the best. An absolute journeyman of coaching. What do you got there, Monks? Actually, he played a little bit for the Chiefs, Raiders, and Niners between 86 and 94. And then, like we said, long time at Sacramento State, and then at the 49ers, at the Falcons as an offensive coordinator, at the Raiders as an offensive coordinator, Seahawks offensive coordinator, and then a quarterbacks coach at Houston, at Denver, at
what years was he in Denver?
Say again?
Years.
He was there 2013 to 2016, so he was Peyton Manning's quarterback coach.
Won a Super Bowl with him.
Yeah.
So tragic there. Vale, Greg, Knapp. Few other trades in the NFL before we
let's finish up with the player movements. So Anthony Miller has been traded to the Texans, kind of replacing Randall Cobb, who's gone from Texans to Green Bay. Not a bad get for them.
Slot receiver from Chicago. Hasn't really broken any record books, but plenty of potential.
Yeah, good draft pick that just hasn't exploded yet. But then again, you look at some of those quarterbacks playing for Chicago and
pretty ordinary. They could have had Mahomes.
Yeah, and now he's going to Texans, who they do have. Deshaun Watson has reported to camp so he doesn't get fined. Still doesn't want to play for them. So
and pending court case.
Pending court cases of the 22 plus women. I don't think that goes to court to. I think there's something in September from the women's perspective, and then his perspective doesn't get heard till February. So it's not likely to be resolved this year. Teams are already inquiring about trading for him, so we'll see what happens there.
D.D. Westbrook from the Jacksonville Jaguars, he has signed the Vikings.
Yeah, depth guy.
Wide receiver, couldn't go deep. Chandler Jones requesting a trade, as does Xavier Howard. So Jones at the Cardinals and Howard at the
I thought Chandler was an interesting one purely because of how stacked that team's kind of looking. And he's got JJ playing next to him. Like he's got an unreal year, probably looking ahead, but
money.
Yeah, his contract I think either ends this year or has got 2 years left on it, and he's looking for a bigger deal. And Cards not come to the table. They can't because they've got all the blokes. They're built to win a Super Bowl this year. There might be one of those things that it'll just be out throughout the year, and then depending how the year goes, then they'll make a decision about what they do next year. But yeah, a bit of a big loss, I think, for Arizona.
We'll keep an eye on what happens there with the brother of John Jones and Xavier Howard, one of the best corners in the league over the last few years. And Logan Thomas has got a 3-year extension.
Yeah, 3-year extension for Logan Thomas was good. On Xavier Howard, he's 17 picks in the last 2 years. So
nuts.
The most by anyone in a long while. So, his problem is he signed a massive deal a couple of years ago and money significantly changed in the league. So he's now paid like the 10th corner in the league. Unders. Yeah, so he released a really good statement. He kind of tried of ideas of how we could restructure and help out with the salary cap, etc. Dolphins basically said, we've got an absolute steal for you, fuck off. We're happy to keep you at this number. Yep. So he's basically said, I feel disrespected. I don't think, the Finns and us, that's a good thing going forward. I think he's reporting training camp also so he doesn't get fined, but he wants out.
Right. And a little bit of college ball news. Texas and Oklahoma, they want to get out of the Big 12 and go to the SEC. So currently 14-team comp in the SEC. This would make it a 16-team sort of super conference. Their rivals in Texas A&M and Oklahoma State aren't very happy about them wanting to jump ship.
How many college teams are there in Texas?
In Division 1, in Division 1A, where you've got Texas, you've got...
Outside these four.
Texas A&M, you've got TCU.
TCU, yeah.
You've got Texas Tech.
Yep.
You've got... I'm sure there's a few more. You've got...
I'd say there'd be heaps.
University of Texas at El Paso. Yep. There's probably more than that. That's what comes to mind. Obviously, University of Texas, one of the biggest fan bases.
Oh, the Longhorns, yeah. They're massive.
Huge Texas Longhorns. And the Sooners, I know they've been good. I didn't realise that they've been this good upon a little bit of research. They've won the Big 12 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
So maybe they want a little bit of stiffer competition.
Yeah,
in the
it makes
SEC.
Sense for the Sooners competition-wise. Not so much for the Longhorns, who haven't been great.
They haven't won it since 2009.
Yeah. But they...
The fan base
and money, so they can add something. But
if there's anything we've learned off doing this little podcast for the last 6 months is that cash is king, baby. Where there is money, there's likelihood that it will happen. So
big time.
It'd be interesting to see what happens there. F1 boys, there's a race coming up.
Yeah, so some quick notes. So F1 race in Hungary. Max good to go, probably the main thing after his big crash.
That is wild.
Yeah.
This is what?
It has been 2 weeks.
10 days? It's not even full.
Today it's 10 days.
Today it's 10 days.
Yeah, so practice will start tomorrow and they'll have quali Saturday. I think concussion's all he had, but putting a car in a wall at 200 k's an hour, 55 Gs, whatever it was, and
unbelievable
concussions all he got.
Unbelievable that he walks away and has a bit of a headache after that, to be honest.
Yeah. So there's been some hoopla about Mercedes and Red Bull getting stuck into it about the laws and getting the stewards involved and back and forth about the crash.
About Hamilton clipping bugs.
Yes. Yeah. So I think, but nothing major, I think, come out of that at the moment.
So, that's to do with during the race, the whole back and forth. So, Red Bull has actually protested the penalty. So they're going...
Should be more significant.
Yeah, so I think they got a lawyer involved, looked at the case, and they're protesting. So they're going to try and get a heavier penalty against Hamilton. What that looks like now, I don't know.
It's a significant time penalty. So what do they get? They got a 10-second on the pit stop. So if it's a 10-second stop and go, that's technically 30 seconds. So it'll be adding time. So it'll be like, do you add 20 seconds to his race and then see how much that bumps it down?
Yeah, that's it. So
when do they have to have that decided by?
I don't know. Like they could take
the qualifying's tomorrow. It can be.
Yeah, so it'd be retrospective. So as long as it's by the end of the season,
right?
They can work out what it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but you don't want to be Hamilton going the last end of the season, and you and Max have got 5 points between you.
Yeah.
And then you lose, 15 points because you move down to fifth or whatever from first, because they can't give you a massive time penalty. But hopefully it'll be resolved sooner rather than later. I think that the way they've adjudicated, they'll probably say it was in race, it was dealt with, part of the race. You guys fuck off, and you've got half a plus season still to go. If you can't sort it out by then too bad.
Yeah. Probably the only other news with F1 is they've announced the second sprint race for Monza.
Monza, really?
So,
okay.
Italy GP later on in the year, around about, I think, September. So they'll have their second sprint qualifying race for the season.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to watch and see how that plays out as well.
So thank you, Monkey. So F1 done, a UFC to keep us going. Only real massive fight from the weekend was Corey Sandhagen taking on TJ Dillashaw. Did end up going to split decision. TJ coming away with the win with 2 judges to 1. Got 3 of the 5 rounds. I can't remember exactly what I said. I think I had Corey slightly edged ahead.
I think we both did.
I think I would have gone Corey as well.
Yeah.
Massive height advantage.
Massive, of course, huge going into. He's way bigger than TJ going into it. TJ did get the bad cut above his eyebrow, like a little terrible cut.
Real bad.
If you talk damage wise, Corey did the most damage, you'd say. But then he was constantly on the back foot, and TJ did get to better grappling situations and a couple of takedowns. We had it in here on the background, and rewatching it. I think I said to you guys in the second round, with the knockdown, maybe because he so dominated that potentially someone could have given that a 10-8, one of the judges. Rewatching it, TJ did enough in the back half of that round that not even close to a 10-8.
Right.
Definitely Corey's rounds. So I had it 2-2 going into the 5th, and you could split it either way. Going to the 5th. The striking numbers were very similar. You'd say Corey landed better shots, but TJ controlled the position, controlled the fight, always going forward. Judges are going to give you some benefit in that. Split decision, it was a coin toss, and anytime it's a coin toss, it could be either one of them. So it wasn't an error. It's like a huge. They didn't give all 5 rounds to one bloke, and the judges didn't fuck this one.
Very, very close.
Very close.
So,
which props to Dillashaw to come back after a couple of years.
And go straight.
No ring rust, just
and we talked about it. Does he deserve It kind of proved it. He's just taken the number 2 guy or number 1 guy.
Well, he is number 2 now in the rankings, so he's jumped ahead of absolutely everyone.
Sterling and Yarn, the loser, maybe gets Dillashaw, or does he go straight to
possibly?
Does he go?
I don't know.
Can he go straight to a title fight? Do you think?
Well, he's just taking out the number 2 dude.
You did mention it during the week. Do they replay this?
That was my.
Do they run this back?
Yeah. I could definitely see them running this back.
And I really like Corey Sandhagen. I'd love to see him get some redemption here.
Yep.
Did you see TJ came out and said his knee is busted up after this?
Yeah, well, I think the first round he got his knee busted up. Corey had a good submission attempt. I can't remember what round it was where he went up a leg lock and it looked bad. But then TJ came and dropped hammer fist on him to break it away and kept going. And he went back to his corner and said, "My knee's fucked," but he kept going. So tough motherfucker.
Tough out of TJ. Apparently, he posted on his Instagram. Went for an MRI, found out that I've got a displaced bucket handle tear of the lateral meniscus. That is the worst meniscal tear that you can get.
Yeah.
So let's not maybe worry too much about who Dillashaw will be fighting in the near future. That most likely needs surgery, and most likely we don't see him for a little while.
Yeah, well, if Jan and Sterling going to take forever to probably organise their fight, it fits. He'll probably get... I'll say this: he probably gets the winner. It'll be a title fight for him. He'll be the next one off the cab of the ranks. So yeah,
that was UFC Fight Night 30 something that they're up to now.
Plenty. It's ESPN, whatever the number is. I think there's one more title, one more fight night, and then we get the September UFC 265.
So we'll review that.
August. UFC 265 is in August, and then
8th of August. So we'll preview that maybe next week.
Yeah, that'll be next week. Yeah.
Finishes off with some golf and NBA.
The old fighting to golf segue. Yeah. And the only reason I bring it up is that an Australian, Minjee Lee, she has won a major last week. She's over there at Tokyo now.
Yep.
Hopefully the typhoon subsides and we get a little bit of golf action. Cameron Smith and Mark Leishman going at it for the boys there. So shout out to Minjee winning her first major. And the NBA draft is tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. So Cade Cunningham from Oklahoma State, he is widely predicted to go number 1 to Detroit. The order after that is Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavs, Toronto Raptors, Orlando Magic round out the top 5.
Yep.
So we'll keep an eye on that tomorrow and see who gets drafted. Cade Cunningham, obviously the red-hot favourite to go number 1 overall. And some big news from the baseball, which we're casual fans of, let's be honest.
Definitely casual fans of.
But it's a Big 4 American team that has changed their name. The Cleveland Indians have become the Cleveland Guardians. So followed suit with the Washington football team, formerly known as the Washington Redskins. And apparently there's a bit of hate on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, well, I saw some troll Twitters kind of throwing out that news that Patty Mahomes was not going to play another down again for.
I did see this
for Kansas until they changed the team.
Fishing, big time fishing, For mine, I can see Redskins is probably pretty offensive.
Yeah,
like it's a shot at skin color. I probably can see that Indians is probably the middle tier there.
Yeah,
and then Chiefs, I don't know. Is it the whole? You get into the whole fucking 2021 cultural appropriation fucking chat, but it's highly revered, to be a chief. It's not like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, like you could call, like for us, elders as an example.
Yeah,
but I would have thought that's well respected versus a lot of other names you could call your indigenous population. So
I don't know, man. It just for mine, if we're going after chiefs, it feels like cancel culture is getting a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Redskins I can understand, and then Indians kind of in the middle.
Yeah. What would you call Kansas? What would you change it to?
What could we change it to? I don't know. The Kansas City Mahomeses. That's going to be the next 9 years. That's going to be the next.
Pretty much.
That's he is intrinsically linked to their success over the next few years. Yeah. I don't know, and maybe I'm just an idiot. Fucking white-skinned Australian moron, but for mine, I can't really see how Chiefs would be on the nose. Redskins, I can see how that could
big time.
How that could be on the nose. But the Cleveland Indians have become the Cleveland Guardians in the baseball.
And with that, I think that'll do us for this week.
That'll wrap us up.
I think Australia are one up in the hockey, so
let's go.
I think we dropped down one position. Russia must have won a medal since we started, so they've overtaken.
No, the Russian Olympic Committee.
Yes, so not actual Russia.
It's like Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes, so they've overtaken us again, but.
Great effort from the Aussies. As we said earlier in the pod, equal gold medals from our whole effort in Rio.
A top 5, if we finish 5th, that would be an excellent. At this point, I just want to fuck Great Britain. Let's get stuck into these pommies and get over them. Let's finish above them. And India top 50.
We'll see what happens. For anyone that has gotten through nearly 3 hours of this dribble, please make sure to show our Instagram a little bit of love.
Yep.
Struggling a little bit there with the followers, I must say. And thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Peps. I've got Sean on my right. I've got Monkey Magic, the fastest research man in the Southern Hemisphere, on my left. We are on the Esky. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Subscribe to this shit. We'll see you all next week. Thanks, boys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Catch ya.